So yeah, today we'll discuss about the S&T PYQs. Okay. So when I observed the pattern, I don't know what you observed when you studied, but when I observed the pattern, the number of the questions, the more number of the questions, and the repeated themes also is from biology and biotechnology. So what is mean by biology and biotechnology? Some basic biological science. Still there are questions about the virus, bacteria, okay, parasites, these kind of questions, okay, you are getting from the basic biology set and also from the biotechnology set, like the CRISPR-Cas9, monoclonal antibodies. So these are the application part, which is comes under the biotechnology. So combinedly, the biology and biotechnology questions, at least 4 to 5 questions you are getting. The major part of your science and technology questions are coming from the biology and the biotechnology. Okay. Second important part is your space technology. And the space technology is not just about the orbits or the rockets or the applications. Okay, space technology is also about the space science. What is mean by space science? Study of the space, like. So most of the time when I see the students, so whenever I ask them about the space technology, they only tell about the PSLV, GSLV, or MEO, LEO, these low Earth orbits, high Earth orbits. They won't touch into the space science. Because why? Even the teachers also feel difficult to explain the space science, because the space science is a little complicated even to teach. Gravitational waves, okay, black holes, supernova, these kind of things was little difficult, but UPSC definitely sees that is the opportunity. And definitely you are getting the questions. Every year you have a question, except the last year. Every year you have almost every year you have the questions from the space science about the black hole or the gravitational waves, solar flares, coronal mass ejections. So these are all you are having the questions. And the next part is your space technology. And what is mean by the space technology? So the applications of the satellites, types of satellites, or any recent launch vehicles, or recent space launches. So these are all. So how these space technology questions you will get? So space technology was divided into 2 parts. One is from the space science and one is from the space applications, space technology. Okay. And the next important part was, what is the next important? Defense technology. So what kind of the questions you are coming from the defense technology? Weapons. Mostly these days the UPSC is covering missiles and other defense platforms. What does it mean by the defense platforms? It's like aircrafts, missiles, aircrafts, ships, naval ships. So mostly you are getting the questions from these areas. Previously you don't have, like if you check the 2015, 16, 17, you don't have the questions from these areas more. But these days, when you check the last 3-4 years, you will have more number of questions from the missiles, aircrafts, and the naval ships. So that is about the defense technology. And next, what is the important area? So what is the fourth? Nanotechnology. Yeah, you are getting not very regularly, but mostly you will see the questions from the nanotechnology. Roughly last 10 years, you will see 5-6 questions from the nanotechnology, because nanotechnology is one of the future technologies. If you take the three future technologies: nano, information technology, and biotechnology. These are the future. These are called future tech triad. Any future technology will have the amalgamation of these three: information technology and biotechnology. This is called the future tech triad. So any new technology obviously will touch one among them. Okay. So next important, energy related. Energy, fuel cells. You'll have more number of questions in fuel cells, and if possible, nuclear energy. Nuclear energy. So recently, India has achieved a criticality in one type of nuclear reactor. Which type of nuclear reactor? Just wait. Just wait. There is a disturbance in the live. Technical disturbance. It's okay. Oh, that's it. What's a little? What's that? Yeah. Audio and video. Yeah. Okay, let's resume our class. So we are at the fifth point of energy, and the energy you will have the more number of questions from the fuel cells, nuclear energy, yeah, here, and the other important part, the sixth. So what is the last? Huh? Computer, information and communication technology, ICT, information and communication technology. So whenever you read your science and technology, you should have this basic idea. This is how you have to read your science and technology, especially when it comes to the prelims perspective. So ICT, when you start your ICT, it's like a chapters in the science and technology. Rest of all the subjects, we have the chapters division. But when it comes to science and technology, because the subject is very open-ended, have multiple things you have to read. So that's why you have to make a plan. So when you read the ICT, what are the important things you have to cover? So what are the important things you have to cover? ICT, information and communication technology. Anyone can guess a question from your PYQ? Can anyone guess can anyone recall a question from the PYQs of an ICT, from the ICT part? Huh? Generations of internet work. Internet, yeah, internet, network, yeah, okay. Okay, now you understand, right? These are the list of the important areas where you will get the questions. So six themes we are identified. From the 6 themes, you will get the most of your science and technology questions. You will come from these 6 themes only. And next, just I prepared a small document like how the traps in the questions. So I think I thought it might be useful. So just we'll go through the important traps. Okay. First trap will be a language trap. Language case. So all, always, only, none. So whenever you have these kind of words, so it's mostly the answer will be wrong. And next, may, can, sometimes. Mostly the possibility. He is telling the possibility is there, which means most probably correct. Okay. So next, double negatives, like it will confuse. Like sometimes, the same statement, 2 statements they will give, and when the statements 2 are negative, or one statement will contradict the first statement. So when you carefully read the question carefully, when you with your reading itself, you can identify the answer. Okay. So these are all part of the language. It's not about the subject. Leave about the subject. Okay. This is all the traps from the language. Means these can apply to any subject. It's not just about science and technology. Language traps can be applied to any subject. So extreme claims without conditions, you can easily eliminate. And the vague generalizations, you have to suspect. Scientific impossibility. So when it said scientifically it's not possible, so definitely it might be wrong also. So mixing fact plus opinion, but it is very rare conditions. Mixing facts plus opinions. But one correct, one exaggerated class, definitely one will be wrong. So absolute cause effect claims usually false. If it is, and also the statement is too perfect sometimes. Statements are too perfect. Then also it will be a trap. So that is important. So when it comes to the subject, now the subject, what kind of traps? Usually what we observe, what I observe, and I'm preparing this document. So often they are always confused about virus and bacteria. They compare always the virus with bacteria, but virus is different and bacteria is different, even in the size. To treat the bacteria, you have to use antibiotics. To treat the virus, you have to use antivirals. So that is a difference. All virus harmful? No. All viruses are not harmful, because sometimes even to manufacture the vaccines, they will take the adenovirus vaccines as a vectors. So because of that that virus, so it will our body able to easily take the vaccine. Not all viruses are harmful. Not all bacteria are harmful. Okay. So types of vaccines also these days they are giving, like the mRNA, vector, and inactivated vaccines, especially after the COVID. And they will give about the DNA, RNA, mRNA, which means you should have a basic understanding about the biology. If you have to answer the questions of the biotechnology, you should have a basic understanding, like from DNA, RNA, what is the role of DNA, what is the role of RNA, and how the proteins are made. If you understand this, then you can attempt all these questions. All microbes are harmful. What is mean by microbes? What are the types of organisms comes under microbes? Virus, bacteria, and plasmodiums, parasites. Yeah, bacteria. Cyanobacteria is also bacteria, right? Yeah, these are all comes under microbes. Yeast. That's what you should have clear with your thorough basics. then you can attempt many of the questions. Okay. Next, the recent technology, genetics like the CRISPR, RNA, monoclonal. Okay, these kind of technologies, you will get questions. Or CAR T cells. Next, yeah, nature versus synthetic. I think I will share this document. You can go through more detail. Okay, you should also get clear about the immune system, how our body immune system works. What are the important parts of our immune system? Bone marrow. Bone marrow and thymus. What the bone marrow and thymus will do? Where the B cells will form? Bone marrow. Where the T cells will be born? Where it will born? The T cells? Huh? No. T cells will also born in bone marrow, but it will mature in thymus. That's what you should have, that conceptual clarity. Okay, very important. Next, energy related. So these days you are getting more questions from the hydrogen, as the present era is like we are shifting towards the away from fossil fuels. So more towards hydrogen, as we see from last 2-3 weeks, like more than 1 month, because of the Iranian war. West Asian crisis. What it teaches to India? Without India having any bit of its like involvement in the war, it has dropped its economy from the world's largest 4th place to 6th place. Without the involvement of India of anything, even a small, even 0.001 share. India doesn't have any share, but it loses its place in the global economy also. Okay, which means India is very much dependent on energy. So the immediate thing India has to do is it should be energy independent. Even if you see in the today's paper, government is pushing for the E100. What is mean by E100? Ethanol 100. Okay. So these kind of things. That's why these renewables are always a hot topic. Renewables or other than fossil fuel technologies, the fuel cells, solar cells, anything other than fossil fuel technologies, always a hot topic. Okay. Even these some PARC silica, these kind of rare earth, some groups are formed, right? Even those kind of groups also might come in the prelims. Okay. Next. Solar. You all know like solar, nuclear. So is nuclear always dangerous? No, right? This nuclear is not always dangerous. So confusing, energy source and the storage. So they always give the confusing about the battery and fuel. Fuel cell versus battery. What does fuel cell do and what does battery do? What is the difference between the fuel cell and what is the difference between the battery? I'm asking very, very simple things. I want to check your concepts before going to the questions. So what is the difference between the battery? What battery does? Our mobile phones, we are all using the mobile phones, right? Battery, what the battery does? It stores the energy. But fuel cell, it generates the energy, electricity. Okay, that is the difference. Should know. And also the byproducts. For example, if you take the hydrogen fuel cell or the hydrogen fuel cell car, what is the byproducts it will generate? Water vapor. Yeah, water vapor it will generate. So even sometimes they will ask the questions on the coal technology. And renewable is not pollution free always. Renewable energies, like for example hydrogen, you can also manufacture with the coal. That is called which hydrogen? Brown, gray hydrogen, brown or gray hydrogen. So which the hydrogen generated using the power from the coal power plants. Still using the non-renewable resource, right? Yeah, which is not good. So next, when it comes to the space technology. Space. So mostly we memorize the missions, but without the purpose. So just what that missions are doing, like for example, what is mean by Chandrayaan or Aditya L1 or James Webb Telescope. So what these telescopes actually do, what means different missions are there. Don't just memorize the facts. Why they have to launch the James Webb Telescope? Even we have the Hubble telescope. At least you know the location where they kept the Hubble telescope and where they kept the James Webb Telescope. Huh? No. Hubble telescope. Hubble telescopes and James Webb Telescope is not a big pipe telescopes. It says satellites which are kept in the space. Astronomical satellites kept in the space. Hubble telescope they kept in the low Earth orbit in the 500-kilometer altitude. And when it comes to the James Webb Telescope, recently launched, like 22, I think they launched in 22, 23. So they kept in the L2, Lagrange point 2. So why they have to keep in the Lagrange points? So when you understand the concepts, then only you can able to attempt the questions very well. Because UPSC questions are not a current affairs questions. More than 60-70% is concept and only 30% is current affairs. Don't think that if we read a PT 365 or some magazines, I can go and attempt the all science and technology questions. It is like not right. Okay. So you should also know these basic concepts. Satellite versus launch vehicle. Like even if you have doubt, okay, if you have not clear about your concept, next week we have marathons, subject marathons. If you have any doubts, you can come, you can attend, and it is also open for all. You can ask any kind of doubts and be clear with your concepts. Okay. So types of orbit and all these kind of things, and also science, the basic space science. What is how the stars are born, how we are born, why we are existed. So you should know all these things. What is the basic units? So we have molecules from atoms. What is the smaller than the atoms? More smaller than the electrons and neutrons? More smaller than the neutrons, protons, and electrons are what is the more smaller than neutrons, protons, and electrons? Quarks and leptons. Quarks and leptons. So multiple 3 to 4 quarks combinedly they form the one proton. That's how. You should know these kind of basic concepts. So next, information and communication technology. Like for example, blockchain. Blockchain. Why blockchain is used? Can anyone tell what is meant by blockchain? You cannot hack the system means? It's a simple thing. For example, if me and we both are sharing the information in a personal chat. Does any one of you are there? You can tell sir didn't send, or I can tell he didn't reply. You can delete the message. For example, if we all form one WhatsApp group, so whatever we had a conversation, everyone will be watching us, right? And if there is tomorrow we have an argument, so people know what is the reality. It applies to same members of all the group. It's a simple analogy of a blockchain. So we'll discuss more about the blockchain. So why the blockchain is needed. So like that. So one kind of technology, actually blockchain, they brought this technology for cryptocurrency. But the applications of the blockchain is unlimited. Like you can use in multiple places, the blockchain. Okay, like that. AI. And what is the important parts of AI? ML, deep learning, Web 3.0, now Web 4.0 is also there. Web 5.0 is also there. So you should know what is that Web 3.0, Web 4.0, Web 5.0, and the quantum. Recently in AP also, they launched the quantum reference facility. So why the world was looking towards the quantum as its future? Why? So you should all know these things. And also the cloud storage. 2 days back, in AP again they launched one of the massive AI storage hub a data storage hub. It's almost 1 gigawatt. 1 gigawatt storage. At present, India have multiple cloud centers. All together, it combined, it was around only 1.3 gigawatt. Means gigawatt means the scale, the power they used to measure. That much power was used for processing and storing the information. And just 2 days back in AP, they launched the 1 gigawatt. Just you can see, this is the capacity of whole India. And just they launched 2 days back is 1 gigawatt. So 80% of total India's capacity at one single place. So you should, really, that's how you should connect your current affairs, okay? Next, defense technology. The classical differences they will ask, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. And recently now, the trend is about the hypersonic systems. So you will get the hypersonic questions from the hypersonic missiles and the direct energy weapons. Direct energy weapons like the laser weapons or the microwave weapons. Okay, these are the things. And the drones, obviously. So 3 times they have repeated in UPSC. Different applications and different use of drones. And also the aircrafts and different kind of aircrafts. So nanotechnology types and applications of nanotechnology and the basics. So these are the important things you have to see and study before you are going for the exam. So I will ask them to share this document with you. So okay. So we'll get this document. So then now we'll go to the questions. So first we'll go with the biotechnology. So yeah, this is your biotechnology questions. Mostly you will get the questions from the genetics. So genetics, molecular biology, immunology, microbiology, agriculture applications, biotech applications, human physiology, and basic biology. Just I want to, declassify and analyze the types of questions they are giving. So that's why I prepared this chart. Okay. So it's not, don't think it's overcomplicated. Okay. This is the list simply. These are the list of the questions they are mostly touching in the biotechnology. Why? Because of biotechnology. Biotechnology is the major share of the questions you are getting from the biology and the biotechnology. So you should have the idea from which places you are getting the questions. So first question, we'll see. The first question, the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee is constituted under which? What is the answer for that? Environment Protection Act 1986. But what is the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee does? What it does? Here you can see. So it is responsible for any kind of genetic material India develops, like genetic organisms or GMO crop, GMO things, whenever an Indian research institute develops. So it has to take the approval from this Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. This is the regulatory body. Okay. Like we have the SEBI, right, for stocks. Just like that, we have the regulatory body. So Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. So responsible for appraisal of proposals relating to the release of genetically engineered organisms and products into the environment, including the experimental and field trials. Even you have to do the experiments and field trials, still you have to get the permission from the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. Very important. So next, in the context of the developments in bioinformatics, the term transcriptome, sometimes seen in the news. What is mean by the transcriptome? So you see, we have DNA, right? Where the DNA was there? DNA, where it is located, DNA? Cell. In cell, where, which part? Nucleus. Nucleus, chromosomes. You have DNA. And from DNA, you will have so this is how the basic our life We are living because of these simple 3 words. DNA, where it will tell to RNA. The genetic code, it will transcripts. It will transcripts. RNA, what it will do? It will do the transcript. Whatever the information is in the DNA, it will take that information and it will tell to the ribosomal RNA to make the protein, right? So here simply don't think, like if you know these basics, you can easily answer. The term transcriptome refers to what? A range of enzymes used in the genome editing, a full range of mRNA molecules expressed by an organism, the description of the mechanism of gene expression and the mechanism of genetic mutation and taking place in cells. So the transcriptome clearly refers to the mRNA. So that is what this transcription. The data from the DNA, and it will tell to take the data from the DNA and tell to the ribosomes to make the proteins. That is the part of mRNA. So this is very basics of biology. It is not the biotechnology application. So that's what your concepts should be very clear. So next, with reference to the recent developments in science, which one of the following is not correct? First one, functional chromosomes can be created by joining segments of DNA taken from cells of different species. Is it possible? Functional chromosomes. Functional means working chromosomes can be created by joining segments of DNA taken from cells of different species. It's not possible. It's not possible anytime soon. So anytime soon they can't make a chromosome and make it completely work. So first statement is very vague. So that's why if you read the concept clearly, you can tell that this is very far. Like it is like, you know, very like after 100 years, the sun's hydrogen will finish and it will come and hit the earth. Very soon it's not possible. So very vague statement. So when you able to judge it is a vague statement, which means your concept should be more clear. Next, the pieces of artificial functional DNA can be created in laboratories. You can create the functional DNA. A piece of DNA taken out from an animal cell can be made to replicate outside a living cell in a laboratory. This is also possible. Cells taken out from plants and animals can be made to undergo cell division in the laboratory. These 3 are more easily possible comparing to the first. Okay, so this is not anywhere near to these 3 statements. So by reading itself, we can able to distinguish this is not right. So what is the answer? A is the answer. So again, same. These are all very fundamental questions. Same. So you see DNA, RNA, and protein. If you understand this concept clearly, you can almost answer many of the biology questions. Just these 3 steps. If you understand these 3 steps, you can able to answer many of your questions. So RNA interference, RNAi technology has gained popularity in the last few years. Why? It used to developing gene silencing. What is mean by gene silencing? So where the genes are located? DNA. The genes are located in DNA. So DNA itself is making protein. It will tell RNA to make protein. So if you want to silence a gene, you have to silence the RNA. That is what is called gene silencing. If you silence the RNA, you can be able to stop the making the protein. So that is what it is telling. It is used to develop the gene silencing therapy, RNA interference. So you are interfering the RNA job. So that is called the RNA interference technology. So it can be used in developing therapies for the treatment of cancer. So this is the simple expression, right? This is how. Even if something is injected, some cancer cell or some virus, still what they will do, they will hijack our cell mechanism and they will inject their DNA and give the instruction to the RNA to make bad proteins. So that's how we develop the disease. Okay, the same step it will do in a negative way. So that's what I told, that if you understand this expression, you understand most of the biology. Okay. So first one is right, second one is right. It can be used to develop the hormone replacement therapy. It can't replace the hormone. It can stop producing the hormone. So when you read, when you able to understand that, this simple trap there, when you only know the concept. Otherwise, you will think that it is a right. It can able to stop the hormone, but it can't replace the hormone. So third statement is wrong. So if you cancel out the third statement, it can be used to produce crop plants that are resistant to viral pathogens. So 1, 2, and 4. So the key is in your basics. So when you understand the basics, no one can stop you to answer the questions. Okay. So what is Cas9 protein? That is often mentioned in the news. What is Cas9? I think you all read the CRISPR-Cas9 technology, right? So what Cas9 does? So at least give me one single sentence. What is CRISPR-Cas9? Gene. It will edit you can edit the gene, right? What are the other type of prior to CRISPR-Cas9? Is there any other technologies to edit the gene? Tomorrow again the same question comes. There is no gene editing technology except CRISPR-Cas9. So you will think it is right or wrong? Wrong. Why it is wrong? There are many other gene editing technologies like the talons, zinc finger. There are many technologies. But why the CRISPR-Cas9 is very famous? Because it is more accurate, more cheaper, more precisely you can edit the DNA in a larger scale. So that is why the CRISPR-Cas9 is more famous. So here the Cas9 protein, what it will do? So you have to edit the gene. To cut means to open that DNA. Your DNA is already in a packed structure. You have to cut and you have to attach the new DNA part, right? To cut that, you need some kind of enzyme, right? So that enzyme is the Cas9. You cut and you edit. So that enzyme is Cas9. Cas9 is a molecular scissor used in targeted gene editing. So this is very basic. Okay. Next. Genetic changes can be introduced in the cells that produce eggs or sperms of a prospective parents. Can we edit the genetic changes with the sperm or the egg? Can we do? Genetic changes can be introduced in the cells that produce eggs or sperms of a prospective parent. Yes, we can do. A person's genome can be edited before birth at the early embryonic stage. Yes? Yes? Is there any examples? Three-parent baby, there you are not doing any genetic editing, madam. We are just replacing the mitochondria. So there is a classic case of Lulu and Nana, the CRISPR-Cas9 babies. The first genetically edited babies in the world, the CRISPR-Cas9 babies, what the Chinese researcher, he has done. So when the parents of this Lulu and Nana, his father has a HIV positive. He has taken his sperm and his mother's egg and he fertilized and he gene edited, and he removed, there is one part of gene which allows the HIV to inject into the human body. And he removed that gene, which means in the future, they will not get HIV. In their lifelong, they will not get HIV, and they can pass their genes to their kids, and they will also not get the HIV. But the world was worried because why? This is positive side, and there is a negative side. And gene has many other important functions to do. The gene he has removed, it has many other good functions also to do. So which he removed now, just how it passes to their future generation, and the negative consequences also pass to their future generations. And that's why if the Chinese government kept that scientist in the jail until now, he was not out. So CRISPR-Cas9 is very dangerous technology, just like the nuclear technology or the present AI technology. They can make the designer babies. At present, we have the economic inequality. Why you are all sitting here? Despite of your economic inequalities, you think that I can prove myself in the exam and I can be any very reputable job. But in the future, it might not be the same. Because the rich people can do the gene editing using these kind of technologies, and they can make their babies more smarter than an average person. So it's not just the economic inequality. In the future, the biological inequality will also come. That's for sure, definitely. It's not that simple. Okay, next. The human-induced pluripotent stem cells can be injected into embryo of a pig. Is it possible? What is stem cells? So why we need the stem cell therapy? Yeah, stem cells are the basic cells which can transform into any type of body cells. Even you can make a heart, you can make a lung, you can make a liver. That is the basic fundamental cells. What is the best part of stem cells? Where you will get? You will get the best part of stem cells from the placenta. Placenta, where the placenta will be? Placenta. So when baby was born, so it's a temporary organ which helps to form makes the baby to feed. That is placenta. So human-induced pluripotent stem cells can be injected into embryo of a pig. Yes, that is how it is possible. The answer will be 1, 2, and 3. So this is how it will be. The genetic changes can be introduced. Person, egg, sperms, you can do the genetic changes. And also, you can edit the gene before in the early embryo stage also. And you can inject the pluripotent stem cells in the embryo of pig. Why they always choose pig is the favorite animal for the scientist? Because so pig's organ size and all is almost same with the human size. Most of its anatomy, it's almost like very close to the human. So that's why maybe you heard in the news like a pig heart they have replaced. Why pig? Because their size of the organs is almost like a same and the function also the same. So that's why the pig is the favorite part for the scientist. Next. So the biofilms can form and medical implants within human tissues. Is it possible to form biofilms? Biofilms are nothing but a simple layer of just like this. We all have this biofilm, right? With our teeth. So many kind of biofilms can be formed. And biofilms can form on food and food processing surface. Yeah, it can form. So by it will form the reactions of the food particles with the moisture. Still it can form a simple thin layer. Sometimes it's visible, sometimes it's not visible. Next, biofilms can exhibit antibiotic resistance. Yes. So for example, if you take our teeth, so if the microorganisms is inside the layer of this biofilm, so it is not exposed to outside, it will cover, it will wrap. So when you use the medication, so it will not go and touch that bacteria. Why? Because it was enveloped with the biofilm, right? So that medicines won't work. So the biofilms can exhibit the antibiotic resistance, which means it won't react to the antibiotic medicines. So 1, 2, and 3 is the correct answer. These are very basics, these are not very complicated things. Simple biology. So next, Mission Indradhanush, launched by the government of India, pertains to what? Immunization of children. Now, how many vaccines they are giving? They are giving for total 8 vaccines, and to treat 12 diseases. Very, very important. So next, in tropical regions, the Zika virus disease is transmitted by the same mosquito that transmits dengue. Yes, right. Sexual transmission of Zika virus disease is possible. Yes. So both 1 and 2. So that is what happens. Like if the baby is born, the baby will be with a small improper development of the head, brain. So this is how the Zika virus affected baby is. Next. Which one of the following are the reasons for the occurrence of multi-drug resistance in microbial pathogens in India? Microbial pathogens in India. Multi-drug resistance, when it will come? So genetic predisposition of some people, multi-drug resistance when the people will come, because of the genetic predisposition will not come. It will not come. Taking incorrect doses of antibiotic to cure diseases, what will happen? So slowly that bacteria will reach to the antibacterial, means antibiotics, it can't able to, it can overpass the effect of that medicines, and those bacteria will become the superbugs. You heard the name, this superbugs? What is mean by the superbugs? When that bacteria is not reacting to the medicines anymore, so the medicines won't work on it. So it was tolerant to the medicines. So then that bacteria is called superbugs. Okay. So this one will be right. Use of antibiotics in the livestock farming. Yes. So that's how we also develop the multi-drug resistance. So if the farmers or the people who maintain the cattle, they use the antibacterial drugs for the cattle. So we'll take the milk from the cattle. So we'll also take that antibacterial resistance. Okay. So again, the fourth one, the multiple chronic diseases in some people, it won't affect. So first and fourth is not there, only 2 and 3 is possible for the multi-drug resistance in the microbial pathogens in India especially. Okay. Next, which one of the following statements is not correct? What is this hepatitis virus? Hepatitis. Hepatitis means which part of the body organ will damage? Liver. Yeah, especially liver. So there are how many? 5 types of hepatitis viruses. So hepatitis B virus is transmitted much like HIV. Yes. Hepatitis virus is also dangerous. It also transfers like a HIV, like body fluids, blood, sexual transfer. Same like HIV, it can also transfer. Hepatitis, very dangerous. So hepatitis B is very dangerous. Hepatitis B, unlike hepatitis C, does not have a vaccine. So hepatitis B has a vaccine, but hepatitis C doesn't have a vaccine. Hepatitis B, unlike hepatitis C, does. So this statement is wrong. So hepatitis B, he hasn't have a vaccine. So hepatitis C doesn't have vaccine. So hepatitis C is very, very dangerous. So which one is not correct? The B is the not correct. Globally, the number of people infected with the hepatitis B and C virus are several times more than those infected in HIV. So what they are telling that, so comparing to the HIV, this hepatitis is more dangerous. That is true. Some of those infected with the hepatitis B and C virus do not show the symptoms for many years. That is what happens. That is what the problem with the hepatitis. For example, HIV, you will show the symptoms. Okay, but not with the hepatitis. At least 2 to 3 years, sometimes you won't show any symptoms. So next, pneumococcal conjugate vaccines. The importance of using the pneumococcal conjugate vaccines. These vaccines are effective against the pneumonia as well as the meningitis and sepsis. So we discussed about 8 vaccines they are giving, right? Government is giving the 8 vaccines. So in 8 vaccines, this pneumococcal conjugate vaccine is there or not? Yes, it is there. And these pneumococcal conjugate vaccine deals with the pneumonia, meningitis, and sepsis, 3 types. Okay. So dependence on the antibiotics that are not effective against the drug-resistant bacteria can be reduced. Yes. These vaccines have no side effects and cause no allergic reaction. Is it right? Any vaccine has some side effects and have some allergic reactions. No vaccine is perfect. No medicine is perfect. Okay? No treatment is perfect. Everything is not 100% right. Okay? So this third statement automatically it is wrong. So 3 is wrong. So 1 and 2, and especially this sepsis is presently it is in the news. So you should know, you should get the information what does mean by the sepsis. Sepsis is what kind of virus causes the sepsis? What kind of virus causes the sepsis? No virus causes the sepsis. So it's our autoimmune reaction to certain virus. The virus will come. That virus is not that effective. It will come, but as a trigger, our immune system will start reacting too much. If our immune system is start reacting too much, what it will do? It will start killing all the healthy cells, not just the viral cells. That is how the sepsis will form. Okay. So very important, just go through about the sepsis. So next important. So with reference to the recent developments regarding the recombinant vector vaccines. Recombinant means what? You will see the recombinant word in many places in the biology. Recombinant means recombining two things. That is what the recombinant. Here, the recombinant vector means what? What the job of the vector? It's a carrier, load carrier. It will carry the whatever the thing which you give. Okay. So the recombinant vector vaccine, consider the following statement. Genetic engineering is applied in the development of these vaccines. Yes? Yes. They will take the vector and they will inject into the required virus part. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, recombinant vector vaccine, simply they will take a vector and they will modify that its DNA with the whatever the sample which they want to inject, and then they will make the vaccines. What is the main function of the vaccine? What is the job of a vaccine? Simply, I'm asking a basic question. What is the job of a vaccine? What vaccine will do? It will create the, yeah, it will make our immune system to the react for the same possible infection which you will face in the future. So as a result, our body automatically will create the memory cells, especially the T cells. So they will convert into memory cells, T cells and B cells. Okay. So the recombinant vector vaccines, the genetic engineering is applied in the development of these vaccines. Is it yes or no? Yes. The bacteria and viruses are used as a vector. Why they use the bacteria or virus? Why they use the bacteria or virus? Why not directly? Basic, very basic. So I'm not even asking the concept. Why they use the bacteria or virus, especially the virus is the favorite for making the vaccines. Because to penetrate and reach our cells, there is no mechanism better than the virus. Because any other thing, if you inject directly, our immune system will attack and it will neutralize. But some virus, it will hijack our immune system and it will enter into the cell. Otherwise, why we will get cough, cold? Right? Because these viruses, why will get even the corona also? These viruses, they will surpass our immune system and they will inject into our cell, right? So that's why even they use the same thing to make the vaccines also. So that's why the viruses are very favorite part for the vaccine makers. Okay. So bacteria and viruses are used in the vectors. So both 1 and 2. Next, in the context of hereditary diseases, what is mean by hereditary diseases? Yeah, future. You are passing your disease to your future generations. Yeah. So first point, passing on mitochondrial diseases from parent to child can be prevented by mitochondrial replacement therapy, either before or after in vitro fertilization of egg. Is it possible? Yes. So you know this 3-parent baby, right? 3-parent baby concept. So where the person, like the woman who has a mitochondrial defect and she has fits or some kind of problem or a limited eyesight or something, if she checks before going to the delivery or pursuing the baby, like if the doctor identifies that she has a mitochondrial problem, and if she passed that mitochondria to the future, definitely, and the baby will have a higher chance to get the same mitochondria, because even we share the 50% of our DNA from our father, 50% of our DNA from our mother, but still the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, is completely we inherit from our mother. Okay, if our mother, means if the mother has the problem of mitochondrial diseases, definitely it is a higher chance we will also inherit the same thing. So that's how this mitochondria replacement therapy has come. They replace the mitochondria in the mother cell with the donor cell. That is what this mitochondria replacement therapy is. So next statement, a child inherits the mitochondrial diseases entirely from mother and not from father. Very correct statement. Very correct statement. So 1 and 2 are correct. So we get our mitochondria completely from our mother. Next, adenovirus have single-stranded DNA genomes, whereas the retrovirus have the double-stranded DNA genomes. Is it right? So HIV virus is a retrovirus. Coronavirus is a retrovirus. So they all have single-stranded RNA. Okay. Here you see this is the retrovirus and this is the adenovirus. What he is telling, adenovirus have the single-stranded DNA. No, it has a double-stranded DNA. Very basic. So first statement is wrong. Common cold is sometimes caused by adenovirus, whereas AIDS is caused by retrovirus. Right. This statement is very much right. Next, which one of the following statements best describes the role of B cells and T cells in human body? So you all know how our immune system works basically. Very, very important, even for your state PSA exams and UPSC exams. Just you have to know about DNA, your cell, and how your immune system works. Then you will understand all the biotechnology applications with your vaccines, medication, everything. These are the basic concepts you need to know. So initially, first part of our immune system, what we have? We have skin, mucus, and our stomach acids. So this is the first part. When something comes and fall on our body, it will reject or kill, right? If we have any microorganism or something in our food, what our stomach acid will do, it will kill. So even it passes. Then what we have? We have the white blood cells. That is called innate immunity. Innate immunity. So we have, right, white blood cells. What are the important components of the white blood cells? Lymphocytes, eosinophils, basophils, NK cells. So these all do, that is called innate immunity. That is the first immediate reaction when some foreign particle enters into your body. They will come and they will be ready and they will go and attack. At the same time, so next, adaptive immunity. What is adaptive immunity? This is the third layer of your immune system. Adaptive immunity is your B cells and T cells. And these B cells and T cells will be the third layer of the immunity, and it will immediately start working after the innate immunity activates. It is a slow process, but it is the more precise. More precise. This is your most sophisticated layer of the immune system. So when this passes, when any virus and pathogen passes these B cells and T cells, so you can't be saved without any taking the medication or something. Okay. So once it crosses, it hijacks the B cells and T cells. So you have to take any medication or you will have to suffer with the disease. So next, we'll come back. Which one of the following statements best describes the role of B cells and T cells? Which statement? Tell the answer. They protect the body from the environmental allergens. Is it right? They elevate the body's pain and inflammation. No. They act as immunosuppressants in the body. They protect the body from the diseases caused by pathogen. This is more accurate. So these are also some of the functions, but this is the more accurate. D is the more accurate. Next, in the context of COVID-19 vaccines. So you all take the COVID-19 vaccines, right? So what vaccines you have taken? Covishield. Huh? What is the difference between the Covaxin and Covishield? Covaxin is an inactivated vaccine, Covaxin. Covishield is an vector-based, the adenovirus-based vaccine. So inactivated, why they have chosen the inactivated vaccine? In US, they have used more sophisticated vaccines, mRNA vaccines. mRNA vaccines are more sophisticated than the inactivated and the vector-based vaccines. So mRNA vaccines, more sophisticated. Why the mRNA vaccines are more sophisticated? So these are the three classical types of vaccines you have taken. Mostly in India, we have taken this one or this one. Inactivated was Covaxin. So what is mean by inactivated? You all remember this diagram, right? During the corona. So this is how the vaccine structure is. So they have taken this part. They have taken this part of the virus. They have taken this part of the virus and they made the vaccine. So still, even the main material was not there. Still, our body immune response will be the same when the real virus came. So what will happen when the real virus came? These are all the layers. That innate immunity, adaptive immunity, all start to work and they neutralize, because there is no, easily they will neutralize, and what they will happen, they will store the information as a memory. For example, if I give some ransom, some amount to go and beat someone, so what you will ask? You will ask some photo. That's what, right? If I give some money and ask to go and beat someone, what you will do? You will take that money and you will ask you some photo or some details. That's how I have to proceed, right? If you don't have the details and proceed, you can't go and beat anyone, right? So this is what exactly the vaccine does. Vaccine prepares the details of the incoming virus. It will store its details. So that is what simply a vaccine does. Vaccine prepares your body to store the details of the incoming future coming virus. So that's why once you have taken the coronavirus, so the chance of you getting the virus or the impact of that virus will be very much low. Only after you have taken that vaccine. Okay? So come back to here. The Serum Institute of India produced the COVID-19 vaccine named Covishield using the mRNA platform. No, only the US companies like Pfizer, Moderna, they prepared the mRNA. mRNA vaccine here is nothing. So you remember this step, right? DNA, RNA, and protein. This step will be used in throughout the biology. Same step. Here what they do, DNA will give mRNA, messenger RNA to make the protein. Here in mRNA vaccine, instead of using any kind of viral materials, instead of using any kind of viral material, they will make one mRNA here to make the viral protein by our body itself, without using any vectors or any inactivated virus. That's why it is more safer. Just they will give the mRNA in an information form. So our body itself makes the viral protein, which is more safer. But the main problem with the mRNA vaccine is good for the Western countries, not for countries like India. Why? Temperature. So mRNA has to store in the more cold. You need extreme temperatures to store in the mRNA vaccines. So African countries and tropical countries like India, it's very difficult to maintain these mRNA vaccines. So that is what simply the differences between these vaccines. Okay, let's come back to the question. So in the context, the Serum Institute of India produced the COVID-19 vaccine named Covishield using the mRNA platform. No. It's first one is wrong. So Sputnik 5 vaccine is manufactured using the vector-based platform. Yes. Covaxin is an inactivated pathogen-based vaccine. So that's why even if you have simple knowledge, and previously it is very easy to eliminate and get the high score. But now the chances of getting high score is much limited. Okay. So consider the following in the context of the interventions being undertaken under the Anemia Mukt Bharat. What is mean by anemia? Anemia you see mostly in women or men? Huh? Women. Men annara, women annara? Women. Okay. Why women?
They have deficiency.
What deficiency? Iron deficiency. When you have an iron deficiency, then you have a anemia. Okay. So that's why even the woman has to eat more iron-rich foods. Even at the pregnancy, they will prescribe the folic acid and iron more. So here it provides the prophylactic calcium supplementation for preschool children, adolescents, and pregnant. It's not the calcium supplementation; it's the iron supplementation. You see how simple it is to eliminate a statement if you have a basic understanding. It is not a calcium supplement; it is a iron supplementation. So first statement is wrong. So it runs a campaign for delayed cord clamping at the time of childbirth. It provides, even if the women don't have the proper iron, it's even very difficult for them to carry the baby for 9 months. Okay. So it runs a campaign for delayed cord clamping at the time of childbirth. It provides for periodic deworming to the children and adolescents. It addresses non-nutritional causes of anemia in endemic pockets with special focus on malaria and hemoglobin. So when the iron is less, the blood was not functioning well, what happens? So it will attract all kind of diseases. That's why it's not at all good. So how many statements are correct? 3 are correct. So next, so monoclonal antibodies. This is one of the very favorite and the research trending topic. Monoclonal antibodies. So we also discussed about our immune system. We have 3 layers, like especially the innate immunity and the adaptive immunity. So what kind of antibodies in our body we have? We have polyclonal antibodies. Different types of antibodies, not one particular antibody. That one particular antibody is monoclonal, that which our body can't make by itself. So it has to produce in the lab. Okay. So with reference to the monoclonal antibodies often mentioned in news, consider the following statements. They are man-made proteins. Yes. So they stimulate the immunological function due to their ability to bind the specific pathogens. Yes. They are used in treating the viral infections like the Nipah virus. Yes. So they are man-made proteins, means our body, means man-made in the sense, don't get confused. So it is made by man in the lab, not in his body. Okay, it is made by man in the lab, not in his body. So be clear. So this is how they make. They will take one, any kind of mouse or something, and they will inject those kind of virus or something, and then they will make to prepare those antibodies, and they will take that one particular antibody and they will copy like the Xerox machine in the lab, and they will inject that antibodies into the human. That is how these monoclonal antibodies are made. So they stimulate the immunological function due to their ability to specific antigens. Means why the monoclonal antibody is important. So one particular disease need one particular antibody. It doesn't need all kind of antibodies. So which our body can't produce only that particular antibodies, right? If you have more number of monoclonal antibody, then the treatment will be more effective. So that is the reason why this monoclonal antibody treatment has came into the picture. In the future, these immunotherapy will have the multiple applications in the cancers, virus, bacteria, any kind of diseases. This monoclonal antibody application will be there. So you will see in the future also, you will have the questions from the monoclonal antibody next year. If not this year, maybe next year or the next year, because this is one of the most trending topic. They are used in the treating viral infections like that Nipah virus. So what are the statements are correct? 1, 2, and 3. In the future, maybe they will get they might have give the question on different types of monoclonal antibody. That question the UPSC didn't give, but they may give the different types of antibodies, different types of monoclonal antibodies, unconjugated antibodies, conjugated, and biospecific. So what is mean by means unconjugated? It works alone, nothing attached, most common type of antibodies. Like you should have these basic difference, at least how the monoclonal antibody is divided. Types of antibodies. The conjugated means it acts as a delivery mechanism and are attached to the drug or chemotherapy or the radioactive particle. And biospecific antibodies are very special. Among these monoclonal, these biospecific are very special because it is a two different types of one antibody can work for two different diseases. So that is one of the best feature of the biospecific antibodies. So already the questions are given on the monoclonal antibodies. Now they will go in the second step or the third step like this. So this is the expectations, but I'm not sure whether we'll get or not. The H1N1 virus. What is the H1N1 virus? Straight question. Swine flu. Swine flu is the H1N1 virus. So next, which of the following statements are correct? Virus can infect bacteria. Virus can infect bacteria or not? Virus can kill the bacteria. Yes. It can kill the fungi. It can kill the plants. Then it can kill the animals. Yes. If it can kill all these things, it can also kill the animals also. So what is the correct answer? 1, 2, and 3. Next. This is the same question. Similar, repeated question. There are some repeated patterns. That's why we have to read the PYQs. This is the recent question. No virus can survive in ocean water. No, viruses can survive in ocean water. Some virus can survive in the ocean waters. That's how we born, right? Our whole life on earth is because of some viruses, some cells are survived in the ocean waters. So no virus can infect bacteria? No. No virus can change the cellular transcriptional activity in the host cell? Every virus will change the cellular transcriptional activity in the host cell. For example, our body, again I will come into the same 3-step. So this is how we are living, right? If virus hijack this our cell mechanism, so what they will do, they will inject its viral DNA, its own DNA. So its own DNA will make the RNA to make bad proteins. That's how our diseases will come. Same function when virus hijacks. So it will also make the proteins, but in a wrong proteins. Okay. So no virus can change the cellular. Yeah, what is the correct answer? None, right? D. Maybe it's not visible. Yeah, it's none. Next, consider the following statements. Which of the above can be cultured in the artificial synthetic medium? Fungus we can create. Bacteria we can create. Virus we can't make in the lab. We need some host like a mouse or any kind of living cell to make the virus. So third statement is wrong. The answer will be 1 and 2. So next, which of the following statements are correct regarding the general difference between plant and animal cells? So what is the difference between the plant cell and animal cells? Plant cells have cellulose, cell walls, and while the animal cells don't. Plant cells do not have plasma membranes like animal cells which do. Plant cell doesn't have plasma membranes? It has plasma membranes. Mature plant cells has one large vacuole whilst the animal cells has many small vacuoles. So 1 and 3. Yeah, we have here no plasma cell membrane we have, right? Both has the cell membrane. Yeah. So this is the simple benefits. So why, what is the importance of cell wall? Plant cell has a cell wall. So what this cell wall will do? It protects. Okay, and that is also one of the reasons why the plants won't move easily. Protects its structure also. But for animals like us, we have the skeleton. That's why we have our proper structure. So that is the thing. Here you see benefits of cell wall. Gives the shape and strength to the cell and protects the cell from the mechanical injury and pathogen attack. So that is what this cell wall will do. The same question here. Consider the following statements in respect of probiotics. What is meant by probiotics? Probiotics are made of both yeast and bacteria, is it right? So when you go and take the yogurt here, there is one Arokya or Arun, there is one that in that entrance we have one shop, dairy shop. So where they will sell the yogurt. Yeah, Arun ice cream, there is shop, one is there. So there you will get the yogurt. In that yogurt, what is the important bacteria you have? You have the probiotics, which is good for your gut health. Which is very good for your gut health. And the probiotics are made of what? Both bacteria and yeast. And the organisms in the probiotics are found in the food we ingest, but they do not naturally occur in our gut. No, we also naturally occur in our gut. There are a lot of bacteria, especially in the large intestine. We have so much bacteria, which is also in our gut. So it is also there in us and it is also available outside. Okay. Probiotics helps the digestion of milk and sugars. Is it right? Yes. So next, consider the following. Some mushrooms have medicinal properties. You see, same. This is a language, classical language question. You no need to know anything. Some mushrooms have medicinal properties. Yes. Some mushrooms have psychoactive properties. Psychoactive properties. Yes. Some mushrooms have insecticidal properties. Yes. Some mushrooms have bioluminescent properties. Means it will shine. Or emit the light in the night time. Yes. All have this kind. Some means definitely some, because there are multiple, like thousands and lakhs of species of mushrooms will be there. At least some species have these kind of properties for sure. So how many are correct? All 4 are correct. It's a classical language trap. Some. Next, some microorganisms can grow in environments with temperature above the boiling pot water. That is called thermophiles. Okay, some microorganisms can grow in the environment with temperature below the freezing point of water. Psychrophiles. Okay, some microorganisms can grow in a highly acidic environment with a pH below. So how much heat human body can tolerate? Temperature 37 degrees. Yeah, hardly he can tolerate like 45, 50. More than that, his cells will start damaging slowly. But these bacteria can tolerate until 270 degrees, nearly 300 degrees also they can tolerate. So that is how our life started actually, from the bacteria. The first life on the planet or in the universe, at least as of now. Theoretically only we know that the life may exist in the other planets, but we don't have proof, right? At least now we don't have any proof. Only theoretically we know, like how we have the solar system. There are multiple number of solar systems. The life is also possible, but that is theoretical concept. But as a proof, we don't have any proof. So we can tell that in the whole universe, life is possible only on Earth because of the bacteria, first form of life. That is the thermophiles.
Tell if there any microorganism in all temperatures.
In any microorganism in?
Can sustain in all temperatures.
I think no, man. I think I as far as I know, I don't know. Like one microorganism cannot survive all temperatures. We are all in the process of evolution, right? So some may survive, some may don't. So with reference to the agriculture in India, genome sequencing. What is mean by the genome sequencing? Genome editing we discussed. What is mean by the genome sequencing? So you should know the definition of that word. Sequencing means reading of the genome. Sequencing is nothing but you're able to read. Read means you're able to identify A, T, G, C, like you're able to read. That is what sequencing means, genome sequencing. So genome sequencing often seen in the news in the immediate future. So genome sequencing can be used to identify the genetic markers of the disease, resistance and drought tolerance in the various crops. Is it right? Yes. These techniques helps in reducing the time period to develop new varieties of crop plants. Yes. So it can be used to decipher the host pathogen relationships in crops. So which means simply they are telling that with reading the genome, we can able to do all these things or not. Can we able to read the genome and can we use for the drought resistance crop? Means where can we alter? Yes? Yes. So these technique helps in the reducing the time period of the developing new varieties of the crop plants. Yes. How previously our ancestors used to do? Go back to the history, ancient history. What is the classical difference between the Paleolithic and the Neolithic? Leave about the science and technology. Go back to history. What is the difference between the Paleolithic and Neolithic? Agriculture and domestication. Domestication and the agriculture are the two important variants. What is the two classical differences between the Paleolithic and Neolithic? So how our ancestors able to do the domestication? Domestication is nothing but it's a kind of a genetic modification. Even the this agriculture also. Initially, when banana, you know the banana, right? Our favorite fruit, banana. So previously, the banana has more large quantity of the seed and less flesh. See, the same banana which we are eating every day, we have the more bigger size of the seed and only limited flesh. How it able to reach the banana which we are eating today? Selective breeding. So what they have done, they have taken the multiple samples. Like for example, there are 10 plants of banana plants. Okay. So they have taken the 10 plants. Among the 10, only one plant have a slight more flesh and less seed. And they will take that sample and they will not plant this for the next crop. And the the production will start from here. And they're doing multiple repeated times. The seeds become more smaller and the flesh become more big, and the present banana which we have like this. That is how our ancestors has done. Okay. Even the domestication also, dogs. You take the classical example of the dogs. Dogs we all know from where it has come from, wolves, right? Wolves. So when they used to eat the meat, and they throw that meat leftover on their doorstep. So at the night time, some wolves has come to eat that leftover meat. When they have come to eat that leftover meat, there are some breeds which are more friendly towards the humans. So they identified that these friendly wolves we can domesticate. So what they have done, they have taken the less aggressive species, like less aggressive male and less aggressive female, and they go for the reproduction. So over the multiple years, multiple years of generation, mostly thousands of years of these kind of reproduction, and the present less aggressive dog species has taken birth. So with the present, these kind of genome sequencing and the genome editing, so they can surpass these thousands of years of breeding cycles, and they can directly make the whatever the breed they want. Okay. So yeah, what is the correct answer? The genome sequencing can be used to identify. So all these three is right for the genome sequencing. So with the genome sequences, you can able to do all these things. Next comes the genetically modified mustard, GM mustard, developed in India. GM mustard has the genes of soil bacterium that give the plant the property on the pest resistance to a wide variety of pests. Is it right? Yes. GM mustard has the genes that allow the plants cross-pollination and hybridization. No. Wait, GM mustard has the genes of soil bacterium. It doesn't have the genes of soil bacterium. Only the BT cotton, BT brinjal, they have the genes of soil bacterium, not the GM mustard. Okay. Genetically modified mustard that doesn't have any soil bacterium. Only the BT, you'll have the Bacillus thuringiensis, BT word will come, right? BT cotton, they have the soil bacterium, not this GM mustard. So first statement will be wrong. So GM mustard have the genes that allow the plants cross-pollination hybridization. Yes? Yes. The GM mustard has been developed jointly by the IARI and the Punjab Agriculture University. It is a Delhi university. So it's very old question, but I don't know whether they will give these kind of questions because UPSC is almost unpredictable. Previously in history also we used to think that they won't give the titles of the kings. So they started again giving the titles of the kings. So we don't know whether they will give these kind of questions. So here only second statement is correct.
Which one can be they give this year?
Oh, madam.
Like BT cotton and this one.
GM.
Which crop is now in use?
Like BT cotton and brinjal, like they recently has gene edited rice. They introduced the gene edited rice. Kamala, Pusa, something. So these Pusa, Kamala varieties, these are the latest news. So they are gene edited rice. They are going to introduce into the India. Okay, these are in news. These are CRISPR-Cas9 edited. Using the CRISPR-Cas9 technology, they edited this rice. Indian government has launched. Okay, these are in the news. Okay, consider the following: birds, dust blowing, rain, wind blowing. So which of the above spread the plant diseases? So like our humans, they can't move, right? They can't stay in a very safe place. So they are prone to the diseases. So what are the methods they will get the diseases? Can birds bring the diseases? Yes. Can dust blowing? Yes. Rain bring the diseases? Yes. Wind blowing? Yes. So all the 4 is possible to get the diseases. Next. Oh, it's a space technology question. For the measurement of which of the following are the satellite images, remote sensing data used? Chlorophyll content in the vegetation of the specific location. Can it be detected? Large plantation chlorophyll vegetation can be detected because it emits some small form of heat, and heat means infrared radiation. So it can be able to detect the infrared satellites. So first statement is possible. Greenhouse gas emissions, satellites can be able to detect how much greenhouse emissions are giving. Yes. So land surface temperatures at specific locations. Yes. The satellite, whenever the application is a large application, then the satellite, the possibility is yes. But can it able to measure the blood quantity in a person? No. Means when it is more specific, then the satellites can't do. When it is a large area, then the satellites can able to do. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Next. So which of the following is used preparing using a natural mosquito repellent? It's a pure general knowledge question. No, you not able to answer even if you read 1,000 books. Maybe it's pure general knowledge. By luck, you can answer. You have to answer these kind of questions. Lemongrass. When you buy some products online, Swiggy, Zomato, if you order the mosquito repellent coils or some kind of that dupe. So some things they are made with the lemongrass, which will not attract the flies. It will remove the flies in your home, including the mosquitoes. The lemongrass, like that. So the BollGuard 1 and the BollGuard 2 technologies are mentioned in the context of what? Genetically modified crop plants. It's simple. You don't need to go deeper also. ACE2. These questions they have asked in 2022 or 2023. Why? Because the coronavirus, it is hijacking this gene in our human body to stay. ACE2. The coronavirus is hijacking this gene to stay in our human body. So that's why they have asked the questions. Genes introduced in genetically modified plants. Genes introduced in genetically modified plants. Yeah, that I think gene spread of viral. Okay, sorry. Spread of viral disease. Sorry. Yeah, the third D is the correct answer. So it is coronavirus especially. It is hijacking because every virus it will rely on one gene. In our whole genetic, like we have around 22,000 to 25,000 genes in our human body. In at least one gene will help the virus. Then only that virus able to stay in our body. Okay. So next, DNA barcoding. DNA barcoding means giving some kind of DNA identification to one biological thing. Assess the age of the plant or animal. You can't assess the age. You can able to differentiate what type and what class and what species it is, but not the age. So distinguish among the species to look alike. Yeah. Identify undesirable animal or plant materials in processed food. So 2 and 3. Not you can't measure the age, but you can able to distinguish the species. So aerial metagenomics best refers to which one of the following? Metagenomics means studying the DNA in a larger scale environment. So if you are collecting the DNA from the larger area and larger species, that is what the metagenomics means. Aerial metagenomics means collecting the DNA sample from air in a habitat at one go. That is what the aerial metagenomics means. Okay. So microsatellite DNA, it's a small DNA. Microsatellite DNA means small DNA. Studying the evolutionary relationships among the various species and fauna. Oh, correct answer. First statement, correct picture. So event like sometimes it's unable to these kind of terminology. Sometimes you can't get in your notes. Maybe through the newspapers or some other sources you have to get. and read all the things and microsatellite. Like if you're able to answer, you can able, and otherwise it's better to not touch these kind of questions if you don't know, because 75% you have higher probability to lose the marks than the 25%. Okay. So in the context of the recent advances, the pro-nuclear transfers. Pro-nuclear transfer means, so before fertilization, you were transferring the nucleus into some other place. That is pro-nuclear transfer. So which happens among which kind of application? D. Yeah. Prevention of mitochondrial disease. We discussed about 3-parent baby, right? So there they do the pro-nuclear transfer. Because before the fertilization, before the sperm and egg fertilize, they take the nucleus from that egg and they will transfer into the another egg. So that is what the pro-nuclear transfer is. So prevention of the mitochondrial diseases in the offspring, they use the same, the 3-parent baby. So which government, which among the world countries, which government gave the first, United Kingdom, gave the first approval for the 3-parent baby. Next, somatic cell nuclear transfer. Somatic cell nuclear transfer. Simply cloning. Dolly, you may have read the ship Dolly. Somatic cell. So why it is called cloning? Usually, like any baby will share 50% mother, 50% father, right? But with these somatic cell nuclear transfer, if you can make any kind of animal or baby, so you will get 100% DNA, 100% DNA from the cell which you have taken from the somatic. Somatic cell means any cell, any body cell except the sperm or egg cell. That is called somatic cell. Except germ cells, like the sperm or egg, any cell is a somatic cell. Any somatic cell, we have the nucleus. With that nucleus, you are able to make another baby. So that baby is called cloning. Cloned, because 100%. If I take the somatic cell from you and make able to one more person, he will be 100% similar to you only. Because there will be no genetic variation. Same. That's why it is called clone. Complete like Xerox. Okay. For example, that's why in the future there is some kind of effects for these kind of issues. For example, Ambani, Adani, these people, they can, like very rich people, if they can able to clone, when they get the 25 years, they can make one more person with the same of their cell. And when they get the 50, 60, what happens to their body? And some organs will fail slowly. They need fresh organs, right? If they can make these clones, they can take that organs from the cloned person. So organ harvesting. Organ harvesting. So one is the negative, non-ethical, like non-ethical practice with the somatic cell nuclear transfer.
It is banned. It is banned.
It is not banned. It is not banned.
Cloning is banned.
No, cloning. Recently also there is in the current affairs, there is one new cow, gir cow, was able to, they made one gir cow in Kashmir University, Jammu and Kashmir. It's not banned.
Humans is banned.
Maybe it's for humans, it is not banned.
Humans is banned.
Yeah. Why? It can also give weapon to the feminism. Feminism, what the feminism tells, like sometimes they advocate that we don't need men to live. Like we can live independently, right? Somatic cell nuclear transfer, you no need any sperm to get a baby. So it's kind of a weapon for the women who strongly advocate the feminism. You no need any involvement of a person, male person, to make the baby. So this is one of the strong negative side for the somatic cell nuclear transfer. So what is the application of the somatic cell nuclear transfer? Reproductive cloning of animals. So which one of the following is synthesized the human body that dilates the blood vessels and increase the blood flow. Any kind of single oxides, very, very dangerous. Carbon monoxide, nitric oxide, very dangerous. So dilates means they thins our blood vessels. They thin our blood vessels. So it can rupture. If our blood vessels will thin, what will happen? Easily it will make the holes. Okay? So nitric oxide is the answer. So which one of the following are the hydrogels used? Controlled drug delivery in the patients? Yes. Mobile air conditioned systems? Yes. Preparation of industrial lubricants? Yes. This is the classical applications of hydrogels. Hydrogels in the sense, you will see the balls, right? Water balls. So that is also kind of a hydrogel only. So where the height means water will be more. So membrane bioreactors are often discussed in the context of what? Membrane bioreactors, often discussed in the wastewater treatments. So it acts as a membrane to stop the pollutants to enter, pass. So that's what they use in the wastewater treatments. So next part will go. Just wait. So we'll go this. So we'll start. Next part is nanotechnology. So why nanotechnology? Why nanotechnology is very special?
Using that we can make many things.
So what is the main difference between a nanotechnology or a nano-sized object and compared to the classical object?
Yes,
Very small means even micro objects are also very small. So why we are not giving that importance to the micro objects? But
properties.
what properties?
It is used.
What is the size of an atom? What is the size of an atom? In meters. One meter, right? So when it comes to the nano means how many? 10 power minus 9, not 9. 10 power minus 9 meters. And the atom size is 10 power minus 10. Just below the size of an atom. So why that's why it is special. For example, why this, you see this pen, it is falling. Why? Because of what? Gravity. But in that case there is no function of gravity. So what are the principles which we apply in the classical, means the classical field? It won't be applied in the nanoscale. So whatever the things mostly apply in the classical field won't apply in the nanoscale, or the features will be very much different. The properties are very different. The same gold particle which looks very yellow in the larger scale, you have the gold ornaments, right? Looks very yellow, but when it goes to the nanoscale, it looks red or blue based on the size. So the different properties, the electrons or the particles behave very differently at the scale of nano. So based on those different behavior, so we can able to harness the different applications. So why the present TVs are more accurate, more bright? The QLED TVs, you heard the name QLED TVs? That is all because of the nanotechnology. So where you will get the more sharp, bright, and the best quality images. That is one of the difference was, one of the importance was the nanotechnology. Because of the nanotechnological applications, our images, our screens getting much better. Why? Because simply the elements or the atoms behave differently in the nanoscale. And based on the difference behavior, they harness into the different properties. Simple. That is the simple definition of the nanotechnology. With reference to the use of nanotechnology in health sector, which of the following statements are correct? The targeted drug delivery is possible. Yes. Because the RBC, what is the size of the RBC? It's around 10 to 20 micrometers. So nanotechnology deals with the 1 to 100 nanometers. Okay. So virus, the size of the virus is 20 nanometers. Bacteria is around 10 micrometers. Large bacteria is also there. So nanotechnology can largely contribute to the gene therapy. Yes. So it has a multiple application. That's why the select correct answer. So both 1 and 2. So with reference to the carbon nanotubes is one of the very important product of the nanotechnology. So they can be used as a carriers of drugs and antigens in the human body. Yes. So they can be made into artificial blood capillaries for an injured part of the human body. Yes, they can be made. They can be used in biochemical sensors, definitely yes. Carbon nanotubes are biodegradable, yes. Because initially they are not biodegradable, but in the later phases, what they have prepared some special enzymes so that these carbon nanotubes are biodegradable. Okay, so that's why these all are possible. So next, other than those made by humans, nanoparticles doesn't exist in nature. Is it right? Example. Just now we discussed, right? Virus. We are only talking about the particle in the nano size. Even it is made by human or by the nature. So virus is a nature-made nanoparticle. Previous question. Yeah. They can made into artificial blood capillaries for an injured part of human body. Only biodegradable when there are some special enzymes are used. Until that special enzymes are not used, they are not biodegradable. Okay. Some special enzymes initially they are not biodegradable. So they can stay perfectly like a stunt. Like a stunt, they can stay perfectly. But when they use some special enzyme, so slowly it will degrade. Okay, so that is how they can be made biodegradable. Next, other than those, means the nanoparticle other than made by humans, the nature nanoparticles exist. Yes, nanoparticles are some metallic oxides are used in the manufacture of some cosmetics. Some. So it's possible. Yeah, sunscreen. What kind of nanoparticles they use? Titanium oxide and titanium oxide nanoparticles they use because they can able to block the sun. One of the important property of nanotechnology is its surface area is very high. Surface area is very high. What's mean by the surface area very high? Yeah, you take a bread. For example, you take a big size of bread. You apply the jam on the 4 sides. So what happens if you just imagine this is a bread and you apply the jam on the 4 sides and you cut the pieces, 10, 20 pieces, and you again apply the jam. So it will consume more or less. Why? Because the surface area of the same size product has increased. Same thing goes with the nanotechnology. When the surface area is increased of any product, it can participate in the reaction much efficiently. Okay, that is one of the best property of the nanotechnology. So next, the nanoparticles of some commercial products which enter environments are unsafe to humans. Obviously, it is more smaller than the blood vessels. So we think that particle PM2.5 is a 2.5 microns, and we are thinking about the nanotechnology. So nanos are much 1,000 times smaller than the micron. So it's more harmful, especially some. So what are the correct answer? Nanoparticles of some metallic oxides are used in the manufacture other than those made by do not exist. First thing is wrong. So 2 and 3 is right. So carbon fibers are used in the manufacture of components used in automobiles and aircrafts. Is it right? Carbon fibers. Why they are using carbon fibers more?
Lighter.
Because it's more strong but light. Light. Carbon fibers once used can't be recycled. No, they can be recycled. So next we'll go for the defense technology. So what is the aircraft? What is the name of the aircraft there? At least whether it is a Indian made or foreign made? Foreign aircraft. It's an Indian made. This name is LCH Rudra. LCH Rudra. That chopper name was LCH Rudra. So next. So initially the previous questions were more like these kind of organization questions, but over the time, so it stopped the questions on this organization and they're giving more questions on real defense technology based missiles, aircrafts and all. With reference to the organization of prohibition of chemical weapons, OPCW, consider the following statement. It is an organization of the European Union in the working relations with the NATO and WHO. No. Very odd combination, right? NATO and WHO. At least you should be able to distinguish. NATO is a completely security and WHO is a health. Yeah. So it monitors the chemical industry and prevents the new weapons from the emerging. That is right. So it provides the assistance and protection to the state parties against the chemical weapon threats. 2 and 3 is right. INS Astradharani is what? So many times you can get the names from the name of the ship. Astradharani means which carries the astras, weapons. So what is that? It's a torpedo launch and recovery vehicle. So it can launch the torpedoes. Nuclear security summits are periodically held under the aegis of the United Nations. No, this is the summit which is started by the Obama. This question came under around 2000 when the Obama is the president of US. Okay, these kind of questions it may not come. This international panel on fissile materials is an organ of International Atomic Energy Agency. No, it's an independent panel. So neither one nor two. The relevance of that question is less. Okay, what is the consequences of country becoming the nuclear supplier group? This is relevant even today. So if any country becomes the member of NSG, nuclear supplier group, what is the consequences? It will have the access to the latest, most efficient nuclear technologies. Yes, it automatically becomes the member of the treaty on the non-proliferation treaty. Is it right? No. No. So what the NPT tells? Except the 5 countries, no other country should have a nuclear weapon. So if India becomes energy, will India give away their nuclear weapons? No, right? So except 3-4 countries, every country has signed the NPT. What are the countries didn't sign the NPT? India, Pakistan, Israel, North Korea has signed and it came out. And Iran also signed, but it is not. It announced that it is coming back from the NPT. Okay. So what is the correct answer? It have the access to the one only. Next, in the Indian context, what is the implication of ratifying the additional protocol with the International Atomic Energy Agencies? The civil nuclear reactors comes under IAEA safeguards. The military nuclear installations comes under the inspection of IAEA. The country will have the privilege by the uranium. The country automatically becomes a member of NSG. The first statement is the more correct. Because once the India has done its second nuclear test, so there are a lot of sanctions. But over the time, what happened? So we had made a deal with the US, first deal, nuclear supply, nuclear treaty with the US. So with that deal, what we got the waiver from the NSG. So any country can do any NSG member can do the business with India. Even though India can't a member of NSG, but any member of the NSG can do its business with India. Then you can ask, without NSG also, if we are getting all the privileges, why India have to join in NSG, or why India is fighting to join the NSG? Why? Even joining India is getting almost all the things. So India can access the nuclear technology, best nuclear technology. India can import the nuclear fuel, just how like the NSG members are doing. So why India still want to join in NSG? Yeah. Why? If you are not a member, direct member, you can't be in a decision-making process for the whole world. So NSG is the body which decides to whom they have to supply the nuclear technology and the nuclear material. But also, if you are a member, you have a proper price for the fuel and also the technology. Yeah. If you are doing the business individually, so they can quote any kind of price. There is no same price. So the same products you are getting more expensive. So you will also get the same privileges. You are there. You will also get the nuclear fuel, nuclear technology. Even out of the group, you are getting the nuclear fuel and nuclear technology, but the higher cost. Okay. So in India, why are some nuclear reactors kept under the IAS safeguards? So why these waiver for the energy, which why India got? Because of this. India agreed for the inspection from the IEA. Okay. So some use the uranium and others use thorium. No. Some use imported uranium and others use domestic supply. Whatever the nuclear reactors which uses the imported uranium, those nuclear reactors are under the inspection of IEA. If we use the domestic uranium, then those nuclear reactors are not comes under the IEA inspection. Okay, means the inspection is mainly the nuclear material which we are diverting into making the weapons or not. That's what the main inspection they will do. Okay. So some use the imported uranium and others use the domestic supplies. So domestic supplies, if you use the nuclear reactor for with the domestic supply, they will not check. But you are importing the fuel from the Canada or the Kazakhstan. The Kazakhstan is the largest supplier of uranium. Okay. Then, yeah. Next, what is the terminal high altitude defense? Sometimes seen in the news. What is that? American anti-missile system, THAAD. So America has two types of system, THAAD and what is the other? Main, Patriot. So we have two layers, right? For the air defense, we have EXO and we have ENDO. So two layers. So this THAAD protects the exosphere, and the Patriot, it protects the ENDO. Okay, that is the basic difference. Next, fractional orbital bombardment system, often talked about in the media. Means what? What is that? What is the fractional orbital bombardment system? A hypersonic missile launched into space to counter the asteroid approaching the Earth and explode it in space. That one or this one? A missile is put into a stable orbit around the Earth and deorbits over the target on the Earth. No, I think A. A is the correct answer. Okay. So recently the Golden Dome has announced, right? Golden Dome. Who announced this? Trump. Trump has announced the Golden Dome. So go and check what is that Golden Dome means. Okay. Next, ballistic missiles and the classical difference between the ballistic missiles and the cruise missiles. The ballistic missiles are jet propelled at subsonic speeds throughout their flights, which cruise missiles are rocket powered only in the initial phase of the flight. What is the difference between the jet engines and the rocket engines? Jet engines and the rocket engines. Basic difference.
Fuels.
Huh?
Fuels.
Not fuels, that's the difference, but what is the main? Classical. So rocket engines. So to burn the fuel, you need oxidizer, right? Without oxygen, fuel won't burn. Simple. Classical physics. Rockets, they also fly in the space. There you have the oxygen or air. No. Still it has to work. So it means it has to take its own oxidizer. But the engines which is working in the Earth's atmosphere, it no need to take the oxygen or air. So jet engines are classically called air breathing engines. Air breathing engines. Means to work, they will take the air from the atmosphere. And the rocket engines, is the rocket engines air breathing? Not air breathing engines, no air breathing. So that is one of the classical difference between the jet engines and the rocket engines. So the ballistic missiles, whether they go into space or not. For example, Agni 5, it almost reaches more, so nearly 800, 900 kilometers altitude. So to launch a satellites in the low Earth orbit, 500 kilometers is enough. PSLV. It launches its satellites at 500 kilometer altitude. But Agni 5, it even goes into the 900 kilometers and 1000 kilometers altitude also. Okay. So to go into that much space, it needs its own oxidizer. So means the technology is both the same. And that's why the people who worked also same. Like for example, APJ Abdul Kalam. So he also worked with our space vehicles. And he also worked with the missiles also. Almost they share some core technology is almost same. But you can also go and check why the missiles are coming back to the Earth atmosphere and why the rockets are not coming back. Like the space vehicles are not coming back, and why these missiles are going into space and coming back. You should know these basic concepts also. Okay, very important. So ballistic missiles are jet propelled at subsonic speeds throughout their flights. No. While cruise missiles are rocket powered only at the initial phase. They gave the vice versa, the statements. So they gave the statement, the answer for the cruise missile, they gave it for the ballistic and the ballistic for the cruise. The first statement is wrong. Agni 5 is a medium range supersonic cruise missile, while the BrahMos is a solid fuel intercontinental missile. What is the range of BrahMos? What is the range of BrahMos? Even if you use the full capacity, it is 400 kilometers. Is it intercontinental? Intercontinental, what is the range to be any missile to be called as intercontinental? 5,500 kilometers. So it's not even 10%. The BrahMos range is not even 10% of the intercontinental missile. Okay. So both statements are wrong. So how many of the above are considered as a fifth generation fighter aircraft? What is the main difference of the main feature of the fighter aircraft? Fifth generation aircraft, sorry. Main feature of the fifth generation. What is the main feature? Stealth. Stealth properties. Stealth properties. That is the main feature. Means which can have a lower radar cross section. So any of these missiles, any of these fighter aircrafts are not fifth generation aircraft. Even the Rafale we have, it's not a fifth generation aircraft. Okay. So MiG-29, it's also not fifth generation. Tejas Mk1 is also not a fifth generation. What is the fifth generation aircraft of India? Su-57, it's Russia, right? Still we don't know whether we'll buy or not. AMCA, AMCA, Advanced Multi-Role Combat Aircraft. This is the fifth generation aircraft of India. Very important. Okay. So answer is none. Next, with reference to the unmanned aerial vehicles, consider the following statements. So again, the language trap. All types of UAVs can do vertical landing. What does it mean by vertical landing? Helicopter. How the helicopter lands? It's a vertical landing. Straightly it will land, right? That is vertical landing. How aeroplanes land? It will, yeah, horizontal or a runway type of landing. So every UAV can't do this kind of landing. UAVs are same type of, same like aircrafts, but in aircrafts humans are there. Here no human, unmanned aircrafts, right? Same. All types of UAVs can't do vertical landing. All types of UAVs can do automated hovering. No. All types of UAVs can use battery only as a source of power supply. No. Even solar powered UAVs also there. Or also fiber optic UAVs also there. Okay. So answer is none. So this is the classic example. It's very difficult example. Only the person who has a good idea about the defense technology, very strong idea, then only they can able to try this question. Okay. So what is the common characteristics of chemical substances like generally known as Cl20, HMX, LLM105? These are a payload. The explosive materials in the missiles, grenades, bombs, they have the explosive material will be there, right? So that explosive material is this one. Cl20, HMX, LLM, RDX. In the news, they will call it as RDX, right? So similarly, these kind of materials, these are more highly explosive than the RDX. These are alternatives to hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants. No, they are explosives in the military weapons. So these things, this question they came in the 2024, right? 2024, huh? Or 2025 they have given. 2024, huh? So with reference to the India's defense, consider the following pairs. Dornier, it's a Indian-made maritime patrol aircrafts. IL-76, it's a military transport aircraft. CL-17 Globemaster, it is also a military transport aircraft. So what is the correct answer? Only 2. The second one is wrong. So you're able to identify. They're asking like how you go outside and you identify the car, right? This belongs to Volkswagen, this belongs to BMW. Like that, UPSC is asking you to identify the aircraft types. Okay. Next, space. So what is the Goldilocks zone? Yeah, the habitable zone above the surface of Earth. It limits the the limits of habitable zone above the surface of the Earth, the region inside the Earth. Search of the Earth-like planets not. Yeah. So what does it mean by the Goldilocks? So you will get this terminology everywhere. In the space you will get in the international relations, you will get in many places, you will get the term Goldilocks. So what does it mean by the Goldilocks? Just right. Not too extreme or not too low. Just right. The just right movement is called Goldilocks movement. Just right. It's not too extreme or too low. So that's what Earth is in the Goldilocks zone. Why? If it is too near, like for example, Venus. So what happened? Water will be evaporated. And like a Mars, water will be solid, ice. So both are not good for life to form. So to make the life to form, the water will be in a liquid phase. So that is only possible in Earth. So that's why Earth is said to be in the Goldilocks zone. Next, the terms event horizon, singularity, string theory, and the standard model are sometimes seen in the news in the context of what? Observation and understanding of the universe, study the solar and the lunar eclipses, placing the satellites in the orbit, origin and evolution of the living organisms on Earth. The answer is observation and the understanding of the universe. event horizon, singularity. This is called event horizon. Black hole. Black hole. You know what is mean by black hole? When major star dies. When major star dies, so we have the explosion called supernova explosion, right? Big explosion. So it will, what happens, just, okay, leave about the major star. So sun is there. Sun is burning because of which fuel? Hydrogen, not helium. Hydrogen. Because of hydrogen, sun is burning. So sun almost consumes 50% of its fuel. So still it has a fuel of 50% more. So which can burn, so nearly 460 crore years more. What will happen after that to the sun and to the planets which is rotating around the sun? So it will finish its fuel, right? And then what happens to the planets? It has a gravity, right? There are 4 major forces in the universe. Very, very major. I mean, these are the 4 major forces which are controlling the whole universe. What are the 4 major forces? Gravitational force, not centrifugal. Electromagnetic force, strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. These are the 4 major great forces of the universe. Very, very important. Because of these 4 forces only, every matter, every molecule, every life existed. Okay, very important. So these are all related to the black hole, event horizon, singularity. If I start to discuss, like, it will take more time. So what is the answer for this? Observation and understanding the universe. So these words, terminology, event horizon, singularity, and string theory. Okay, these are all related to this. So Earth's magnetic field has reversed every few 100,000 years. Is it right? Yes. So when the Earth was created more than 400 million years ago, there was 54% of oxygen and no carbon dioxide. Is it right? Only carbon dioxide is there, no oxygen. Okay. When living organisms originated, they modified the early atmosphere of Earth. So 1 and 3. So light is affected by gravity. Is the light is affected by gravity? Even the black hole can't emit anything. It will absorb everything, including the light. So light is affected by gravity. The universe is constantly expanding. Is it right? What is the classical phenomena? Redshift is the phenomena which tells that universe is constantly expanding. Okay. So matter wraps its surrounding space-time. Is it right? Yes, that is what the Albert Einstein in his general theory of relativity, what he said. So matter wraps its surrounding space-time. Like the Earth is there. Wrapping means, so just like one cloth, how it wraps the matter. So that's how the gravity is wrapping the matter, or the space-time is matter. That is what, yeah, here it shows, right? The predictions of Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. Because of these findings, he got the Nobel Prize. Even he died nearly 50-60 years ago, still slowly, whatever his predictions, he didn't went to the universe and saw all these things, right? He just theoretically he measured. This is how the universe will be. This is how the gravitational waves, this is how the stars, just theoretically, with using all his knowledge and some books, he predicted. But slowly, what the scientists came to know that all his predictions are coming to be true. Okay. So what is the correct answer? 1, 2, and 3. So recently, scientists observed the merger of the giant black holes billions of light years away from the Earth. What is the significance of these observations? So when 2 black holes merge, what happens? The gravitational waves generates. How the waves generate in the ocean. Similarly, the waves also generate in the gravity. When too much gravity is there, how the ocean waves generate, even the gravitational waves also will generate. So that is what even the Albert Einstein, he predicted. So which of the following is a reason why astronomical distances are measured in light years? So this is very basic question. So previously are very, space science, but why the distance is measured in the light years. What is the speed of light? 300,000 kilometers per second, right? And 1 light year is equal to 9.7 trillion kilometers in 1 light year. 9.7 in one light year is equal to 9.7 trillion kilometers. So why the astronomical distance are measured in the light? Why? Because the speed of light is same everywhere. The speed of light is same everywhere. That is the reason why the astronomical distances are measured in the light. Okay. The distance among the stellar bodies do not change. Light always travels in the straight line. Speed of light is always same. That is the reason. So next, the major solar storm, solar flares reaches the Earth. Which of the following are possible effects? What are the solar flares actually? Just if you burn some, wood. If you burn some wood, what happens when the wood is burning? Some sparks will come, right? Some sparks will come. Same, like just imagine that much size of the sun is burning lot of its fuel. So definitely some sparks will emit. That is what the solar flares are. Okay, in simple meaning. So how these solar flares affect the Earth? So which of the following are the possible effects on Earth? GPS and navigation systems. Because all the flares is in electromagnetic radiation. What is the electromagnetic radiation? We have 7 types of waves, right? Radio, micro, X-rays, IR, visible, gamma. So everything was in the electromagnetic radiation. So definitely it will impact, because every device, you take every device, including the satellite or your mobile phone, all works in this electromagnetic spectrum. Is it clear, right? All works in the electromagnetic spectrum. So if you can hold this electromagnetic spectrum, then definitely you will have a hold on all the devices which works under same principle. So definitely it has an impact. The GPS and the navigation system could fail. Tsunamis could occur in the equatorial regions. No, right? No. So why tsunamis will come? Changing of the plate tectonics, movement of the plate tectonics and all. Okay. So next, power grids could be damaged. Intense auroras could occur over the much of the Earth. Forest fires could take place. No. Orbits of the satellites could be disturbed. Shortwave radio communication of the aircraft flying over the polar regions could be interrupted. Because why? Why you have more sunburns in the polar regions? When you exposed to sun in the polar regions, even in the Arctic or Antarctica, you will have more sunburns. Why? Ozone layer is more thin in the polar regions. So you will have a direct sunlight. So which can cause the more sunburn and also sometimes skin cancer. That's why you should not expose your skin to the sun, especially when you are living in the polar regions. Maybe you have read in your geography class, right? So in the polar regions, ozone layer is more thin. If the ozone layer is thin, what it will do? The sun, right, especially the sun rays of UV, especially UV rays, it will directly hit your skin. Then what will happen? The skin burns and the cancer also will come. So 2 and 5. Without 2 and 5, you can check the options. That is the C, third option. Yeah, next. Scientific studies suggest that the shift takes place in the Earth's rotation and axis. Is it right? Yes. Solar flares and the associated coronal mass ejections bombarded the Earth's outermost atmosphere with a tremendous amount of energy. Yes. As the Earth's polar ice melts, the water tends to move towards the equator. Is it right? Very, very basic. You have to give some little more analytical. thinking to that. When Earth polar ice melts, the water tends to move towards equator. Is it right? Yes. So what is the correct answer for this? For second will correlate or the third will correlate? Both statement 2 and 3 are correct, but only one of them explains the statement, right? ఎందుకంత కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉన్నారు? Why? కనబడట్లేదా? ఓ సారీ. So yeah. At least you're able to see. అందుకే మీరు like you should not sit that far. At least if you got, I mean all, you should sit near, you can more visible to the screen. Scientific studies suggest that a shift is taking place in Earth's rotation and axis. That is true. Solar flares, associated coronal mass ejections bombarded the Earth's outermost atmosphere. Can it able to rotate the Earth's axis? No, right? So 2, but third, as the Earth's polar ice melts, the water tends to move towards the equator. Okay? Madam, what is the correct answer? What is the correct answer? Both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, and both of them no. B is the correct answer. So B is the correct answer. So what is the difference between the solar flares and the coronal mass ejections? What is the difference between the solar flare and coronal mass ejection? You should know, right? The difference between the solar flares. Solar flares, as I said, it's like a sparks. Sparks, it's coming from the sun, when during the process, like a sudden intense burst of the radiation from the sun's surface. But what is the coronal mass ejection? Coronal mass, some mass is also coming. Here only you see the radiation when it comes to the solar flare. But here you see the mass from the corona. Corona means the center of sun. So from the center of sun, okay, you are getting the mass, right? So the mass is in the sun's mass is in the plasma. Plasma is the fourth state of matter, right? Matter is in the gaseous form, liquid, solid, and also plasma. So this is the sun's matter, sun's plasma. That is the coronal mass ejections. So what will happen? If it comes to the Earth, what happens? And its effect was more huge than the solar flares. Okay? So its time scale is very small, but it can see the time scale is very high. So here, and it affects the radio blackouts, increases the radiation, can affect the satellites, can cause the geomagnetic storms, auroras, damage the satellites, and the impact of the sun's coronal mass ejection is very high comparing to the solar flares. In the class, we can discuss more, okay? Giant stars live much longer than the dwarf star. Is it right? Giant stars live much longer than the dwarf star. Is it right? No. Because giant star consume more energy. So it will die faster comparing to the dwarf star. So the first statement is wrong. Compared to the dwarf star, giant stars have a greater rate of nuclear reaction. You see, when you read the two statements, either only one will be right. Okay, here it is telling compared to the dwarf stars, giant stars have a greater rate of nuclear reaction. Means which burns the fuel more high, like a 150cc and 350cc bike. 350cc bike, obviously burns more fuel. Same, the rate of fuel is more high. So comparing to the dwarf star, giant stars have a greater rate of nuclear reaction. So second statement is correct. Statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. So Cepheids, nebula, pulsar. Nebula means, at least you should know this, nebula.
First stage of star.
The gas. So this is what called the maternity ward of stars. All the stars burn at the nebula. Nebula means giant clouds of dust and gas in space. That is what nebula. And pulsars. Pulsars means what? Pulsars means it's a stars which brighten, dim periodically. Neutron stars which are formed when the massive stars run out of fuel. Yeah. So this is also wrong. So which one of the above pairs are correctly matched? What is the answer? Pulsars are neutron stars that are formed when massive stars run out of fuel and collapse. Only one is correct answer. So next, come to the applications. These are very easy. Okay. So which of the following activities are Indian remote sensing satellites? Assessment of the crop productivity. Yes. Locating of the groundwater resources. Yes. Mineral exploration. Yes. Telecommunications. Yes. Traffic studies. Yes. All it can do.
That is communication also.
Yeah, remote sensing satellites. So what is the greased lightning? It's a static question. This is not very important. Okay. So next, the Mangalyaan launched by the ISRO is also called the Mars Orbiter mission. Yes. Made India the second country to have a spacecraft orbit the Mars after USA. Yeah, fourth country. Before Russia and also China. Yeah. So second statement is wrong. Made India the only country to be successful in the making its spacecraft orbit the moons in its very first attempt. Only country orbit in the Mars in its very first attempt. Yes, 1 and 3. First attempt in the first attempt. Because US is not achieved it in the first attempt. Next, what is the purpose of evolved laser interferometer space antenna? To detect the gravitational waves. So we'll discuss later. So in which of the following areas can GPS technology be used? GPS technology. Mobile phones, banking operations. Yes, why they have to use in the banking operation? Controlling the power grids. Yes. Of course, they have to know from which ATM you withdraw the money. They have to know, right, which location you have withdraw the money or which location you are doing the transactions. So with reference to the Indian Regional Navigation System, IRNSS, has 3 satellites in the geostationary and the 4 satellites in the geosynchronous. Yes? In the geosynchronous, it should be 4 satellites. And geostationary, it should have 3 satellites. Right? So it's working now. It's technically not working because only to make this IRNSS work, at least 4 satellites to function. Only 3 satellites are functioning. So technically it is not working. IRNSS covers the entire India and about the 5,500 square kilometers beyond its border. Yes. India will have its own satellite navigation system with full global coverage by middle of 2019. So India didn't thought of having a global navigational system, only the regional navigation system. That is why it's called the IRNSS. Okay?
Why they gave 2019?
Just trap. It's a trap, man. It's a trap. It's not real. So with reference to the India satellite launch vehicles, so consider the following statements. First statement, PSLV launched the Satellites useful for Earth resources monitoring, whereas the GSLVs are designed mainly to launch the communication satellites. Is it right? PSLV launches satellites useful for Earth resources monitoring, whereas GSLVs are designed to mainly to launch the communication satellites. So what is the purpose? Like, what is the difference between the PSLV and GSLV? Sir, okay, let's go to the second statement. Satellites launched by PSLV appear to remain permanently fixed in the same position in the sky as viewed from the Earth, particular location on the Earth. Is it right? Second statement. To launch a satellite, to make this to be true, it looks like it is stationary. So which satellite vehicle we have to use? GSLV, not PSLV. So what is the orbit distance? To make the satellite stationary, to look the satellite stationary, what is the distance? 3,600 kilometers. That is called higher Earth orbits. Higher Earth orbits. Okay. So this is can be done with the GSLV. What is the payload capacity to the GSLV? Payload capacity of the GSLV to the geostationary orbits. Payload capacity. 4,000 kgs or the 4 tons. And what about the PSLV? 1,400 kgs. For example, if India recently sent a satellite of 4,800 kgs. So which satellite vehicle it has to use? No, nothing. It should not use. Anything will not work because the limit of the GSLV is only 4,000 kgs. So it has used the other country launch vehicles. Arian, yeah, French Space Agency. They have used. So second statement is wrong. GSLV Mk3 is a four-stage launch vehicle with the first and third stages use the solid rocket motors and the second and fourth stage uses the liquid rocket engines. Is it right? They confuse so much that they have given the features of PSLV for the GSLV and features of GSLV for the PSLV. So if it is here it is PSLV, right? If they kept the GSLV, then the statement is right. Here also same. If they kept the PSLV, then the statement is right. So PSLV is the 4-stage rocket engine and GSLV is a 3-stage rocket engine. What are the 3 stages of GSLV? Solid, liquid, cryogenic. Cryo. And what about the PSLV? Solid, liquid, solid, liquid. Okay? 4. So 2 statements are wrong and the answer will be 1 only. So with reference to the radioisotope thermoelectric generator, consider the following. So RTGs are miniature fission reactors. Is it right? No. RTGs are used for powering the onboard systems on the spacecrafts. It's like a tiny batteries. Tiny batteries. What these nuclear materials will do? They emit the radiation, right? They emit the radiation. So they emit the neutrons, excess neutrons into the outside. So with that radiation, it emits some small heat. So with the heat, so they can run some parts like a battery, a tiny battery without any recharge. So even I don't know, even after the exam only I got to know this technology. Even I would have not attempted if I got like, yeah. RTGs can use the plutonium-238, which is a byproduct of weapons development. Is it right? RTGs can use plutonium-238. Yes, yes. So 2 and 3 is the correct answer, not the first one. So GPS, Gagan, uses a system of ground stations to provide the nuclear augmentation. Which of the following statements is correct? It is designed to provide the additional accuracy and integrity. Is it right? Yes, it is designed to provide the additional accuracy and integrity. It will allow more uniform and high quality air traffic management. Yes, it will provide benefits only in aviation but not in other modes of transportation. Third statement is wrong. Okay. So which of the following countries has its own satellite navigation system?
Japan or India?
Okay. No, there is no India, madam.
Yes, but they're both there.
So what is its name? Okay, you know that Japan.
NAVIC for India.
Japan.
For India, I think.
Yeah. Japan. What is its NAVIC is for India. And what is the name of the navigation system for Japan? JAXA is the space agency like ISRO. Okay. Huh? They have the space called QZSS or Michibiki. That is the name. It is also a regional navigation system, just like India, not a global navigational system. Okay. Next, energy. With reference to the fuel cells, which of the hydrogen fuel, oxygen are used to generate the electricity? Consider the following statement. So how the fuel cell works? You should have the basic idea how the fuel cell works. So a fuel cell is an electrochemical device that converts the chemical energy as a fuel and directly to electricity. That is the basic phenomena you should know. What the fuel cell is doing. Fuel cell is converting the chemical energy into the electrical energy. In the lorry batteries or our inverter batteries, these are all the same, right? These are all fuel cell. These are all chemicals, and these chemicals they are converting into electrical energy. That's how these batteries here you can see, right? Our home UPS batteries, lorry, car batteries, even some our bike batteries. How the bike works, even 2 years, 3 years without that. That's all because of the. But it can generate. It can't store, right? It can also generate. Same. So when there is no electricity, how these inverters start working? So it's because of a fuel cell. It's a fuel cell. Mobile phone is a battery. It will store the energy by taking the external source. Why won't it act? If you replace it with a fuel cell, it will act definitely. Because there are some research already, you can search. The fuel cell operated mobile phones is already there. It's in the research stages. It's there. But there is some technical limitations are there, or some expensive materials they are using. Still it didn't come into picture. Maybe in the future you'll get the fuel cell based mobile phones. You are getting the fuel cell based cars. You are getting the fuel cell based vehicles. Then why can't you get the fuel cell mobile phones? You will get, definitely you will get, but at least not right now. So what is the answer for this? With reference to the fuel cells in which the hydrogen rich fuel and oxygen are used to generate the electricity, consider the following statements. If pure hydrogen is used as a fuel, the fuel cell emits heat and water as byproducts. Is it right? Heat and water as byproducts. Yes. Fuel cell can be used for powering buildings, not for small devices like laptops and computers. No, it can be used for laptops and small devices also. It can be used. The fuel cells definitely can be used for powering small buildings, and so the second statement is wrong. So it can be used. So it is telling it can't be used. Second statement is wrong. The fuel cell produces the electricity in the form of alternating current. Is it right? No. They are all producing the direct current. So our power supply lines, what is the current? Alternating current. Why? Why it is not direct? Because the direct current will generate a lot of heat. The power loss will be very high if they transfer the power in the DC. In our home electronics, like our mixie, fans, which current they use? AC. They use AC. But what about our laptops, mobile phones? They all use DC. You should get that clear difference between which device will use which. Okay, our laptops, mobile phones, we all use the DC current. That's why we have this much big size adapters. Mobile adapter. Why can't we directly use, like, which 2 wires you can directly keep in the plug and you can connect the mobile phone? What will happen if you do like that? Yeah, you can't use, that will be the rest in peace. Okay. So you should know that basic difference. So fuel cell produces the electricity in the form of direct current. Not just the fuel cell. You can take the photovoltaic cell, like the solar power. Everything, mostly they produce in the direct current. They produce the power in the direct current. They change the direct current to the alternate current to transfer. Because if they send in the direct current form, the heat loss will be very high. Okay. So one only is the correct answer. So what is mean by pyrolysis? Extraction of the rare earth metals, natural gas extraction technologies, hydrogen fuel based technologies, waste to energy technologies. That is called the pyrolysis. This is the outcome of the pyrolysis, the syngas. The syngas, bio oil and char. This is the byproducts of the pyrolysis. Syngas means carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Okay. So yeah. So the term West Texas Intermediate. So this time maybe they will give the question, different types of crude is there. The crude oil which we get from throughout the world. So US also sells the crude. Okay, Dubai also sells the crude. Venezuela also sells the crude. Russia also sells the crude. All the crude are not same. The quality of the crude is not same, right? Even the Venezuela has the largest crude oil reserves in the world, but the quality of the crude is very, very low. It's like a tar. You see the tar, right? Very thick. To process that crude into the oil, the refineries have to spend a lot of energy. Okay, so just go and check the different types of crude. This might be a probable question in the prelims. Okay, so this West Texas Intermediate is a crude oil. There are different types of crude. Okay, Brent crude, Texas crude, like that. There are types of crudes are there, like 3-4 varieties of crude is there. Very important. This time you get the question because of the present situation. So with reference to the solar water pumps, solar power can be used for running surface pumps and not for the submersible pumps. Is it right? What is mean by surface pumps and submersible pumps? Submersible pumps inside the well. You have the submersible pumps, right? So with power, you can operate any kind of things. Yeah, we can use both. So first statement is wrong. The solar power can be used for running centrifugal pumps, not the ones with the piston. This is also wrong. Just the power here is coming from solar. Rest of the thing is same. If you give the required power, you take the wind energy, solar energy, any energy, the pumps will work. Very common sense, basic question. Okay. So neither one nor magnetite particles suspected cause the neurodegenerative problems or generated as environmental pollutants from which of the following? From which of the following? Brakes of motor vehicles, yes. Engines of the motor vehicles, yes. Not the microwave stoves, not the telephone lines, but 1, 2, 4. So these magnetite particles comes from these sources, and these can cause the neurodegenerative diseases. Very, very dangerous if you inhale. So the pressure cooker. In your pressure cooker, the temperature at which the food is cooked depends mainly upon which of the following? Food is cooked depends mainly upon which of the following? Mainly. Which of the following? Area of the hole of the lid, Yes. Yes. Pressure cooker. If you make the big hole, if there is a big hole, then what is the making? What is the use of pressure cooker? Right. You can use in a normal bowl also. You can cook. Right. Temperature of the flame. Temperature of the flame is not exactly why it matters. Pressure cooker. The pressure cooker works based on the function of maintaining the pressure. For maintaining the pressure, the weight of the lid and the area of the hole in the lid is the most important factors, not the flame. You can keep the normal bowl, you can give the same amount of heat, and you can give the pressure cooker same amount of heat. So which cooks better? Pressure cooker, because it can able to withstand the maintain the pressure. That is because of the area of the hole in the lid and the weight of the lid. If the lid is thin, what will happen? It will bomb. It will, blast. And if the hole is bigger, what will happen? All the pressure will escape. Okay, 1 and 3 is the answer. Next, water can dissolve more substances than any other liquid because of why? Because it's a dipolar in nature. So it is a dipolar in nature, so that's why it can dissolve any kind of substances better than other. It's simple chemistry, right? Sodium lamps offer, what is the differ from the sodium lamps and the LED lamps? If you go into the here Hussain Sagar, you can see the sodium lamps even now. So, and LED lamps, these are all LED lamps. So they are asking what is the difference. Sodium lamps produce the light 360 degrees, but it is not so in case of LED lamps. Is it right? Because LED mostly emits the light in a monochromatic style, not like a sodium lamp. So as street lights, sodium lamps have a longer shelf life span than the LED lamps. Is it right? LED lamps, means comparing to the LED lamps, sodium lamps have more shelf life. No, LED lamps have more shelf life. Why? That you have to ask the GHMC. Okay. So as a street lights, sodium lamps have the longer shelf span than the LED lamps. This is definitely wrong. The spectrum of the visible light from the sodium lamps is almost monochromatic, while the LED lamps are other significant color advantages. Is it right? This is very much right. So sodium lamps only use the yellow color. They emit only one single color. But with LED lights, you can make different kind of color. That is what the third statement is telling. Sodium lamp only gives the monochromatic. Monochromatic means one single color. LED lights, you can have multiple colors. Okay, you can see the lights here, like white. Outside lights, it's a little yellow. These are all LED lights. So 1 and 3 is the correct answer. So bisphenol A. So which kind of plastics they use? They use in the polycarbonate plastics. So triclosan, toiletries. You can use mostly they use in the toiletries. So India, despite having the uranium deposits, depends on the coal for most in the electricity production. Is it right? India, despite having the uranium deposits, depends on coal for most of its, despite having. Is it right? The statement? Yes. Uranium enriched to the extent of at least 60% is required for the production of electricity. Is it right? How much enrichment is needed? What about in the case of India? How much enriched uranium is using for its fuel production? So, clearly understood. For India, how much percentage of enriched uranium is using to run its nuclear reactor? 0%. India is using natural uranium to run its nuclear reactors. So it's PHWR, pressurized heavy water reactors, are running with the 0% enriched, completely natural uranium. Okay, 0%. So don't get confused. Usually, ideally, 5% is good. Ideally, 5 to 20% they use for the civil nuclear purpose, means to generate the electricity. To making the nuclear bomb, atomic bomb, you need 90% enrichments. To make the nuclear bomb, to make the 90% enrichment. But India is using only 0%. 0%. Maybe the energy output might be very small, but it no need to depend on the enrichment facilities. Okay. So because India started in around its nuclear program in 1970s, right? That time there is a lot of sanctions on India. So they don't have the better technologies to enrich. So that's why they designed their nuclear program on the using natural uranium as it is. Okay. Unlike other countries at least they use the 3 to 5% enriched fuel. Even now there is a lot of pressure on India from the local scientists that please use at least 5%. But we don't know whether they will take that 5% cap or not, because our nuclear reactors are designed to use the 0%. If you use the 5%, which means the energy will be more. So our reactors can withstand that energy or not, we don't know. Okay, so uranium enriched to the extent of at least 60% is required for the production of electricity. Is it right? Yeah. These 60% they use where they will use the 60% for the electricity? 60% enriched fuel. Mostly they use in the nuclear submarines. In the nuclear submarines, they use this 60% enriched electricity. Nuclear submarines. Why? Because once the nuclear submarines, the fuel is filled. Next, that lifetime of the submarine, 30 years. Or the nuclear ship, 30 years. They don't refill. Once only they will fill while the construction. And the next lifetime of that 30 years, they will not refuel. Okay, that's why the nuclear submarines have the longer range. So what is the correct statement? See, statement 1 is correct. Yeah. Statement 2 is incorrect. Next, detection of car crash collisions, which results in the deployment of airbags almost instantaneously. Detection of the accidental free fall of the laptop towards the ground, which results in the immediate turning off the hard drive. Detection of the tilt of the smartphone, which results in the rotation of display between the portrait and the landscape mode. Yanni means like it's all things which you already seen in your life, right? So in how many of the above actions the function of accelerometer required? How many? All. So all 3. So otherwise how our mobile is knowing like what the landscape and the portrait mode? Because of the accelerometer. So with reference to the green hydrogen, consider the following statement. It can be used directly as a fuel in the internal combustion. Yes. Yes. Any kind of green hydrogen, brown hydrogen, any hydrogen. It can be used as a fuel. It can be blended with natural gas and used for the fuel for the heat or power generation. Yes. So don't get confused. Don't get away with the word green. Just think about the hydrogen. Okay. Whether the electricity is coming from the coal power plant or nuclear power plant, still your fridge will work. Doesn't matter the source. Only it needs the required voltage. That is what it's matter. Okay. Don't get carried away with these kind of words. So it can be used directly as a fuel for internal combustion. Yes. It can be blended with the natural gas and used for the fuel for heat or power generation. Yes. It can be used in the hydrogen fuel to run the vehicles. Yes. Okay. So UPSC always will confuse with these kind of words, green hydrogen, brown hydrogen, like that. So consider the following heavy industries: fertilizer plants, oil refineries, steel plants, Again, the green hydrogen is expected to play a significant role in decarbonizing how many of the above industries? All. In all places, they can use the green hydrogen. So this is the type black, brown hydrogen. So the hydrogen generated from coal. Gray hydrogen using the natural gas. Blue hydrogen, fossil fuel. So these kind of hydrogen, the turquoise hydrogen is from methane. Pink hydrogen from the nuclear energy. Simply the process of generating the hydrogen from the source, which source. So based on the source, the color is allotted. If the hydrogen is generated from the coal is looks like black, right? So that's why it is called black hydrogen. And the green hydrogen is renewable energy. If the hydrogen is generated from solar or wind, so which is a renewable, so that's why it is called green. So with reference to the coal-based thermal power plants in India, consider the following statements. None of them uses the sea water. Is it right? No. None of them set up the water stress district. No. None of them is privately owned. So many private companies are owning the thermal coal power plants. Adani has many coal power plants. Even the Lanco, so many private players also own the coal power plants. So none. Again, the language trap. So battery storage, biomass generator, fuel cells, rooftop solar voltaics. How many are the above are considered as the distributed energy resources? Distributed energy resources. This is not very high-fi word. Distributed energy resources means it's not a direct energy. Yeah. So distributed energy resources, all four comes under the distributed energy resources. So distributed means any form of energy which can be distributed. So it can be direct source energy also. Okay. Don't get carried away with these simple words, distributed energy. And next also there is one question called powertrain vehicles. Powertrain vehicles. What is mean by the powertrain vehicles? Yeah. Battery storage. Yeah. Even the battery storage also called as distributed energy. Means storing the energy and also supplying the energy. Okay. But check once. Even I have the doubt. Yeah, I can check this question once. Okay. Which one of the following exhausts the pipe emission from fuel cell electric vehicles powered by hydrogen? What is the exhaust pipe? What you will get? Like how we get the smoke from our bikes? Water vapor. Consider the following: full battery electric vehicles, hydrogen fuel cells, fuel cell electric hybrid vehicles. How many of the above are considered as the alternative to powertrain vehicles? So all the combustible vehicles are called powertrain vehicles. So if they directly ask combustible vehicles, everyone will know. So everyone will answer. So that's why UPSC use these kind of technical words. So powertrain vehicles are nothing but any vehicle which use the combustion. Like the petrol, diesel, these are all powertrain vehicles. So if you directly ask the petrol and diesel vehicles, everyone will answer and everyone will give correct answer. So it want to trick. So that's why they use the powertrain, the word powertrain. Okay. So what is the correct answer? All the three. So in the context of electric vehicle batteries, consider the following elements. So how many of the above usually make up battery cathodes? Graphite is anode. So what is the difference between the cathode and anode? Anode use the cathode receives. So you should at least that kind of understanding will be enough. Next, some rare earth elements are used in the manufacture of flat television screens and computer monitor. Is it yes? Yes. Some rare earth elements have phosphorescent properties. What do you mean by phosphorescent properties? Phosphorescent properties means when you pass some energy, electricity or something, it will emit into some colors. That is called phosphorescent properties. So both are correct. So is this first statement is right? Is correct? It can be correct. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 explains the statement 1. Some rare earth elements are used manufacturing of the flat television screens and the computer monitors. For computer monitors, what they need the phosphorescent component. So when the electricity current is going into the monitor, it should emit into different colors. So that is what the second statement is also, right? So second statement is directly explaining the statement 1. So artificial way of causing rainfall to reduce the air pollution makes the use of what? Silver iodide and potassium iodide. So other than 2, what is the other? Dry ice. Okay. So one more section is there. So that is very small number of questions. Okay. ICT. So with that, it will finish. So Li-Fi. With reference to the Li-Fi recently in the news, which of the following statements are correct? It uses the light as the medium for high-speed data transmission. Is it right? Is it right? Yes. It is a wireless technology and is several times faster than the Wi-Fi. Is it right? Yes. So simply, we have Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi works on which form of electromagnetic radiation? Radio and microwaves. It's a combination of both. Somewhere the spectrum between the radio and micro. These all the ICT devices mostly works between these radio and microwaves only. Any device, any communication device you take, even the satellites to our mobile phones, this all works between the micro and radio and microwaves. Okay. So both 1 and 2. So with reference to the visible light communication, VLC technology, again similar kind of question. So which of the following statements are correct? So VLC, visible light, uses the electromagnetic spectrum wavelengths 375 to 780 nanometers. Is it right? Yes. Don't think that UPSC will play like 374, instead of 374 it will give 375. So if it is almost with the range, it will give correct only. Like it's unlike the group exams, it will don't do these kind of things. Instead of 3, if it is a 300, they will give only 375. So most probably they will give correct only, 375 to 780 nanometers. That is the most accurate. Usually we call it as 400 to 800. Sorry, yeah, 800. But still, that is more accurate. 375 to 750 nanometers is the visible light range. So VLC is a long range optical wireless communication. Is it long range or short range? The range of VLC is a short or long? Short range, obviously short range. Out of the wall or any kind of, it will not pass. It's a short range. So VLC can transmit large amounts of data faster than Bluetooth? Definitely yes. VLC has no electromagnetic interference. Yes. So 1, 3 and 4. So 1, 3 and 4. So with reference to Bitcoins, sometimes you've seen in the news which are the following statements. Bitcoins are tracked by central banks of the countries. Bitcoins means you already know, right, about Bitcoins, right? What is the Bitcoin? Cryptocurrency. Yeah, it's a cryptocurrency, right? Cryptocurrency means it has a cryptic nature, means it's not easily visible to everyone. Only a few people can see. So that is what the Bitcoins are. Bitcoins are tracked by the central bank of the countries? Definitely no. That is the main purpose why they created the Bitcoins. So throughout the countries in 1970s, what happened? So there is a story. 1970s, what happened? There are some people, they observed that these governments are getting so much power. Why? Because they're able to make the money. They're able to print the money. They can able to control the money. That's why these governments are very powerful. So we want to stay away from these power ambit of the government means you have to make your own money and make that legalized. Means legalized means many people you should use. So that's why the concept of the cryptocurrency came into the picture. But there is a problem called double spending. So very, very important, this double spending. What is mean by double spending? Because this crypto or the digital currency. Digital currency are nothing but a data, right? Ones and zeros, zeros and ones, ones and zeros. You can copy and paste. You can copy and paste. So who will be the author? If you want to stay away from the government, and who will see, who will scrutinize, who will maintain which transaction is correct and which is not correct. So with the digital currency, he and me, we make one transaction. He will tell that I didn't receive the money, even he received. Or if I don't send, and I will say I have my own money, and I will also show in my wallet, because it's just a digital currency. I can copy and I can paste. So, and there is no one to see. Means at least the UPI transaction, there are some banks, RBI, everything is there, and they will monitor, right? But here there is no intermediate, because there is no banks, no governments, nothing in the digital currency, or especially with the bitcoins. So to fill that role, so they have to wait 30 years, almost 30 years to fill that role, not that, more than 30 years. So they waited. They got the concept of idea of the digital currency or the cryptocurrency before this Bitcoin, which came under the Bitcoin comes in Bitcoin. It came around 2008, but the idea of the crypto came around 1970s. So almost 40 years they have to wait. Why? Because to solve this double spending, one single problem called double spending. Double spending means everything is an information. So they can copy and they can paste, and there is no one to scrutinize. The fundamental objective of bringing this digital currency is to make the governments or the someone scrutinized to be stay away. So they worked almost 40 years to solve this problem, And how they solve this problem, this double spending problem, with blockchain. Blockchain, they created the register. For example, we have 10 members. We all using the bitcoins for our transactions here. So there is no one to watch who is selling money, who is giving money, no one to watch. So then what will happen? So I will tell, I have more money than all of you, right? Who is there to control? So that case only the system of blockchain came into the picture. Blockchain means what? It's a register. Like I can't simply send the money. Even I want the book in front of him, I want that book. So he told that it is a two bitcoins you have to pay. So if I send the 2 bitcoins, it's not automatically it will go. Most 50% of the here members should accept the transaction. That is right transaction. Then only the transaction will be valid. Okay, more than 50% if they accepted the transaction, then the transaction will be valid. Otherwise, the transaction will not generate. Which means there is no one to scrutinize. Only we ourselves will able to maintain that our currency. That is what the blockchain is doing. It will create a block which is accepted by more than 50% of you. If more than 50% of you accept the transaction, then the block will be created, and that block will not be tampered unless these 50% more will be again accepted to tamper that block. So that is a complete foolproof mechanism. It has created by a person called Satoshi Nakamoto, and no one knows in the world that who is that person. But he published a paper and he left. It's an anonymous name. But he solved a great problem called the double spending. Okay. Huh? What is the use of? You no need to be in the surveillance of government, right? This fraud and all. So why the currency has value? So why we have 2000 rupees note? So why it has the value of 2000 rupees? Because government is telling it is a 2000 rupees note. That's why it is having its value, right? So any currency, for example, you take the ancient history. Initial days, what they used to use? They use the cowrie shells, beach shells. Like beach, you will get some shells, right? So they used to use those kind of shells. Then it changed to the gold, nishka, golds. So why these gold even have that value? Because most of us here, we agree that gold has value. That just because of our consensus, that is the one single thing which decides which currency has more value, which currency has less value. Why the rupee has less value comparing to the dollar? Because most of us doing the trade in the dollar. If most of us doing the trade in the rupee, then the rupee will have more value. Just because of simple one thing, most of us agree to do, means to use which kind of currency or to use which kind of tool. Same, the Bitcoin, initially it has nothing. One Bitcoin initially, when it was generated, one Bitcoin is around $10 or $5. Now one Bitcoin is how much? It is almost like near to $1 lakh. So $1 or $2 of that time is was around 400 or 500 rupees. And now that one Bitcoin was around almost $1 lakh, means almost 94 lakhs, almost 1 crore. Almost 1 crore. So where it is 500 rupees and where is 1 crore? Why? Because why it has its reach so much value? Because many people come into picture and they are using that Bitcoin. That is the one single, means the mark which decides that the value of the Bitcoin. Simple, the market economy. Why RBI won't control the value of the rupee? Why it decides the market? Recently, I watched a video in YouTube. Think School, you know that Think School, right? Think School person, there is Think School. There is one YouTube channel, Think School. They have given a classic case study on the Thailand government, how this Thailand, George Soros, how he completely demolished the Thailand economy. There is one classic case study. Go and watch that. It was very interesting. 15 minutes video. It was very interesting. Thailand, based on Thailand, Think School. So you can go and watch, you can understand. So this is how they solved this double spending problem was solved using the blockchain. And later we understood that the blockchain has multiple uses. So many uses. Like you have to make the thing tamper-proof. For example, you finished your education in the school. So every year, 300 students are graduating. So 300 students will have their certificates, right? So why some people are creating the fake certificates and still they can show that I am the alumni of that school. Even that problems also can be solved using the blockchain. Because once the block is created about the 300 students, there is not even single small entry is made. 300 not 1, 300 not 2, 300 not 3, it is impossible to create. So which clearly shows that, so this person is not the eligible student of this college or university. So even the land records, you can use this one. Health records, you can use. So many places you can use the blockchain. Okay. No, blockchain technology is like, technology is legal. You can create the blockchain, like the software. You can create any kind of software, right? Bitcoin is not legal. It's not legal. I think it's not legal. Cryptocurrency, there are thousands of cryptocurrencies. Not even single currency. There are thousands of cryptocurrencies in the world. Even the Elon Musk also, he created one cryptocurrency. So many thousands of cryptocurrencies in Ethereum, like Doggy coin. So many coins, thousands of coins are there after the Bitcoin. But no one has the value of the Bitcoin because the Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency. So many people invest. These European people, like especially the European and Western people, they don't have the savings, same like the savings behavior like Indians. How Indians we save in the gold or some kind of land like that, right? But these Western people, they don't save like that. They invest in the bitcoins and all. Okay. So bitcoins are tracked by the central banks? No. That is the prime agenda why they didn't, means why they started the bitcoins. They don't want to be tracked by the central banks. Anyone with the Bitcoin address can send and receive the bitcoins from anyone else with the Bitcoin address. Yes. Online payments can be sent without either side knowing the identity of the each other. Yes. There is no options, but 2 and 3 is correct answer. Regarding the DigiLocker. So it is a DigiLocker system offered by the government under the Digital India program. Yes. Yes, it allows you to access your e-documents irrespective of your physical location. Both 1 and 2 is right answer. OLEDs. OLED displays can be fabricated on the flexible plastic substrates. Yes. Rolled up displays embedded in cloths can be used using OLEDs. Yes. Transparent displays are possible using the OLEDs. So what is the OLED? Organic light emitting diode. So why it is better than the normal LCD? Because they use the more better phosphorescent materials. So where they will show the better, sharper and strong colors. So you know, right? The OLED TVs, AMOLED, almost all our mobile screens are LED screens only. So these all three, OLED can be fabricated. Yeah, all three are correct. So Digital India plan of the government, formation of India's own internet companies like China did. Which of the following are the aims of Digital India plan of the government of India? Formation of India's own internet companies like China did. Establish a policy framework to encourage the overseas multinational corporation to collect big data to build their large data centers within the national geographic boundaries. Connect many of our villages to the Wi-Fi internet and brings the Wi-Fi to many of our schools and public. So which of the following are the aims of Digital India? Digital India, what is the aim of the government? Formation of India's own internet companies like China did? No, it is not the aim. Establish a policy framework to encourage the overseas multinational corporations that collect big data to build their large data centers within our national geographic? No. No, only 3. Because ideally, this is the aim. Ideally, but slowly, India is pushing towards having our own data centers. Data localization, that is called the data localization, right? Establish a policy framework to encourage the overseas multinational corporations that collect big data to build their large data centers within our national geographic boundaries. So I think means second statement, it has 2 sides, means like whether it is also taking the complete data from the total company's data, which works on the foreign countries also. So that's why this second statement was a little bit doubt, but I feel that third one is more accurate. Okay. So next, WannaCry, Petya, Eternal Brew. What are those? Cyber attacks. Cyber attacks. So definitely they won't keep the names like that for the exoplanets. Cryptocurrency they might keep, but cyber attacks is the most probable answer. Oh, they gave the lengthy paragraphs. When the alarm of your smartphone rings in the morning, you wake up, tap it to stop the alarm. Immediately after the alarm you stop, your geyser switches on. Yeah, the smart mirror in your bathroom shows the days of weather and also indicates the level of water in your overhead tanks after you take some groceries from your refrigerator or making breakfast. It recognizes the shortage of stock. Very ideal, means very ideal, right? It's good. It means the Internet of Things, how these Internet of Things, the connection of all the devices which works. It is simply telling in the morning you stop your alarm, immediately the geyser in your bathroom will start. And immediately your food, when you open your fridge, automatically whatever the food left, it will automatically detect and it will order to refill. It will order by itself. So while you are going into the car, means while you close the door, your house door, all your devices will turn off. So while you are in the car, it will show the which road you have to take because of the traffic and all. These are all means what? It is telling that Internet of Things. So Internet of Things. 3D printing. Preparation of confectionery items. Can it print the chocolates? Yes. If you give the ink of chocolate, then it will print the chocolate. Manufacture of the bionic ears? Yes. Automotive industry? Yes. So reconstructive surgeries? Yes. Data processing technologies? Yes. Any kind of memory chip and all you can print. So even you can see the Skyroot, Agnikul Cosmos. What are this? Skyroot and Agnikul Cosmos. There are private space players. They are printing their engines using the 3D printing to make the production more faster and cheaper, right? So all or can be possible with the 3D printing. So with the reference to the communication technologies, the LTE, long-term and VoLTE, what is mean by LTE and VoLTE? VO means voice and LTE means data. So voice and data, VoLTE is more powerful than LTE. LTE is commonly marketed as 3G. VoLTE is commonly marketed as advanced, it's like 4G. So first statement is wrong. LTE is data only technology and VoLTE is a voice only technology. Second statement is also wrong. It's voice and data. Neither one nor two. So in the context of digital technologies like augmented reality, what is mean by augmented reality and virtual reality? What is mean by AR and VR? Games.
And 3D glasses.
Virtual reality means, so what you will completely out of from the reality which you are seeing. So you will have that goggles, completely it's virtual. So whatever the real world will not be there in the virtual world. But augmented reality is the world which you are seeing will be augmented, means additionally it will show some more directions. For example, if you are going in your car, you will have the LCD and it will show the road, right? It will, on that road, it is showing some directions. You go this side, go that side. That is called augmented reality. The reality, it is augmenting, making it better. Virtual reality is completely out of the reality, okay? So it augmented reality, simulated environment is created and the physical world is completely shut. No. In the virtual reality, images generated from the computer are projected into real life objects. No. In virtual reality, images generated from the computer are projected into real life objects, or now a simulated environment is created and the physical world is completely shut out. So this is for definitely no. In virtual reality, images generated from the computer are projected into real life object or surroundings. Yeah. AR allows the individuals to be present in the world and improves the experience using the camera of smartphone or PC. That's right. VR closes the world and transposes an individual, providing the complete immersion experience. Yes. 3 and 4 is correct answer. Can you able to understand? Digital signature. What is mean by digital signature? An electronic record that identifies the certifying authority issuing it, used to serve as a proof of identity of an individual to access the information of the server. No, definitely no. Electronic method of signing an electronic document and ensuring that original content is unchanged. That is true. So an electronic, it's not an electronic record. Definitely it's not an electronic record. It's an electronic method of signing, electronic document. So answer is 3. It's a method, not a record. So in the context of wearable technologies, the smart watches you have, which are the following tasks it's accomplished by the wearable? The location, can it get the location? Sleep monitoring? Yes. Assisting the hearing impaired person? Yes, it can do. Artificial intelligence. Present state of artificial intelligence can effectively do which of the following? Bring down the electricity consumption in industrial units. Yes. Creating meaningful short stories and songs. Yes. Disease diagnosis. Yeah, it can disease diagnosis, right? It can able to disease. That is the where it is using more. AI is using in the disease diagnosis. Text to speech conversion. Yes. Wireless transmission of energy. It can't transmit the energy wireless, right? So definitely not 5. 1, 3, and 4. So according to UPSC, AI can't create the meaningful short stories and songs. Huh? Now it can create. Yeah. So 1, 3, and 4. So blockchain technology. It is the public ledger that everyone can inspect, but which no single user controls. Yes, right? That is what the blockchain technology is. That everyone can inspect. Everyone can inspect. But one single can't. No single user controls. That is what the blockchain technology is. The structure and the design of the blockchain is such that all the data in it are about the cryptocurrency only. No. Applications that depend on basic features of the blockchain can be developed without anybody's permission. Yes. So answer is 1 and 3. So in India, the term public key infrastructure means what? Digital security infrastructure is called public key infrastructure. So non-fungible tokens. What is meant by non-fungible tokens? They are enabled to digital representation of physical assets. Is it right? For example, you draw a good painting. Fungible means what? Your money is a fungible token. Non-fungible means it can't be exchanged easily. Non-fungible means, for example, you write any kind of the chart. So then it will be a non-fungible because that can't be replaced with anyone. Because it has its unique value. Maybe less, maybe more, but it has its own unique value. And that value changes according to you and the person who purchases. Okay? But if you take a 100 rupees note or 2000 rupees note, it has the same value to you, to me, everyone. But that chart has not same value because if I have written that chart, draw the chart, I have more value than you all. That is what, non-fungible. They enable the digital representation of the physical asset. For example, I draw this chart and then I take that photo and I will sell that. I will sell that chart online, digital. You can invest some money and you can buy. For example, if it is like drawn by me, but that doesn't have more value. But if it is drawn by big painter, then definitely it has some value, right? If it is drawn by big painter, then definitely it has some value. And there will be no more physical. He will burn. So once he draw, he will burn that and just he will have only the photo. Only he will exchange that photo. He will sell that photo for $100 to someone. So it becomes a non-fungible token. So that value will be not be same. If some other person he want to buy that again the picture, he might pay $150, and another one $200, or the fourth person he may pay only $10. It depends on the need and necessity of the persons. It will not have the same value. Okay. So they are unique cryptographic tokens. They exist in the blockchain. So we can track this, who is purchasing with the blockchain or not. Yes. They can be traded or exchanged equivalency and therefore can be used as a medium of commercial transactions. Yes. If I don't have money, so I can sell that. That is what the non-fungible tokens are. So software as a service, it's a cloud computing. What is the cloud computing? How many types of services are there? Infrastructure as a service. Yeah. Platform as a service. Software as a service. So SaaS buyers can customize the users among this, which is the premier service. Cloud computing will offer these three kind of services: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Among them, which is the more premier? Means for which service you have to pay more money? Software as a service, because here everything they will only do. You just access the Software. They will manage your data, they will sort your data, they will present your data, everything they will do. Infrastructure is a service, is just a storing. Just they will store your data. You have to manage everything. But software as a service is a more premier service. So software as a services buyer can customize the user interface and can change the data fields. Software as a services can access their data through their mobile devices. Outlook, Hotmail, and Yahoo. Like for example, your Gmail in your phone is a best example for software as a service. So 1, 2, and 3. So with reference to the Web 3.0, enables people to control their own data? Yes. So in Web 3.0 world, there can be a blockchain-based social networks. Yes. Web 3.0 is operated by users collectively rather than corporation. Yes. This is also right. 1, 2, and 3. Now Web 4.0 is also there. Web 5.0 is also there. Go and check that. What is Web 4.0 and Web 5.0? Okay. So qubit. Quantum computing. So consider the following technology: the closed circuit television, the radio frequency identification, wireless local area network. Short range devices, what is the best example of the 3? 1, 2, and 3. All comes under the short range. Which one of the following phrases denote an interoperable network of 3D virtual worlds and can be accessed simultaneously by millions of users, which can exert property rights over virtual items? Metaverse. Metaverse is a 3D virtual world where you can purchase, buy, build homes. Okay, you can do many things. So it is expected the Masrona 1 chip will be enable the quantum computing. Masrona 1 chip has been introduced by Amazon Web Service. Is it right? No, it is by Microsoft. So deep learning is a subset of machine learning. Yes. So it is expected to, yeah, what is the correct answer? C. Yeah, done. So these are the questions. Okay. So like that chips, there are Willow chip is also there. Neuralink chip is also there. Go and check those chips. Okay. What is Willow chip? Willow chip belongs to which kind of category? Quantum computing. Not 5 processor. Willow processor. Okay. So Willow and also Neuralink. Neuralink, it's connecting the brain with the outer interface. The chip was developed by Elon Musk. Yeah. Their company they have developed. So these kind of things. So if you have good concepts, these all will be very easy for you to understand. Okay. Concepts are what matters. Either prelims or the mains. If you have strong concepts, anything will be easy. If less concepts are less, then you will be hard. Maybe concepts is the stronger.